Oh, Lauren, Lauren, queen of the screen. With Botox so tight, you look like a dream. But your skin's so thin, it's like tissue paper. One wrong word and poof, you're a vapor. Hey, Lauren, Lauren, toes all sore and red. From folks stepping on them, now you're crying in bed. People are mean, you wail through the night, but you swing at victims' kin. What a sight! From YouTube throne, Queen Lauren so grand, now cast to the peasants with pitchforks in hand. You dish out the drama, true crime with flair, but cross your highness, oh beware! Family members grieving, you pounce like a cat, claws out and hissing, imagine that! Botox can't hide that frown upside down. Your kingdom's crumbling, you're losing your crown. Hey, Lauren, Lauren, toes all sore and red. From folks stepping on them, now you're crying in bed. People are mean, you wail through the night, but you swing at victims' skin. What a sight! From YouTube throne, Queen Lauren so grand, now cast to the peasants with pitchforks in hand. Once upon a vid, you ruled the true crime wave. Subs in the millions, oh what a rave. But thin skin and sore toes led to your fall. Now you're scrolling comments, ignored by all. Peasant life calls with no royal decree, just Botox bills and reality TV. Hey, Lauren, Lauren, pack up your crown. The kingdom's evicting, you're heading downtown. Toes still aching, tears on your sheets. But hey, next adventure, true crime on the street. From queen to the fields with the mud and the muck. Lauren, oh Lauren, next time, better luck. Apologize, Lauren, to victims of our...
Hey everybody, I hope you guys are all doing very well. And in case you've forgotten about that little ditty, that song was done when Lauren Matthias and John Matthias basically copyright struck the family members of murdered children. She was literally going to take them to court, tried to take them to court, because she stole the photographs of the murdered family victims from Facebook and other places. And when the parents, or I'm not the parents, I'm sorry, the aunt, the biological grandmother, the other members of the family, when they used those photos in a video that they were doing on their own channel, Kresha on her own channel, literally Lauren Matthias copyright struck for these photographs. Now, in the end, ultimately, the family won. Okay. Everything that Lauren and John did using the court system as a petty little tool for their BS, they lost. They did it. They were not able to be triumphant. So that is the song that I did back when all that was going on, and that's kind of what it's about. Now, since then, I've sort of been keeping an eye on Hidden True Crime channel as a curiosity for if they target another family, if they try to do to another family what they did to JJ and Tylee's family. Just sort of watching, just kind of watching. So occasionally, because I have this additional interest in the Hidden True Crime channel, as well as Web Sleuths, Um, Occasionally I come across a video that they did, a commentary they made that I feel like is worthy of discussion, that has some interesting things in it. And so that is what today is. Hey, Lolo. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. Boss lady, great to see you. Sketty Nona, welcome, my friend. Diane, I am just honored that you can be here with us for a little while. And by all means, you need to go to church, be with your people, do your prayers, and we will be here when you're done. So don't you worry about that. I'm just glad you popped in. So thank you so much. If you don't mind, hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. And then we're going to talk about, we're at this is actually going to be a review, a reaction video of Hidden True Crime's coverage of The Nightmare Upstairs. Okay, that's what we're actually going to do. I had one more little bit of commentary that I wanted to make before we got into the meat of this video, and that was Scott Reich. So Scott Reich, it was so interesting because he was at CrimeCon this past weekend, and when he finished at CrimeCon, he made his first video after CrimeCon was over and finished. He made the comment. He said, "Wow, I had no idea that there was so much creator drama in this small little sector of YouTube that we call true crime," right? And I wanted to laugh, and I was like, "Oh my God, Scott, wait a minute. It's not a little bit of drama. There are people covering true crime that look, to be fair, cringe at best. At best. There are other people that are covering these true crime cases, and they're doing just a spectacular, great job, no question." The story that I did, I think it's been about a week now, about the two little boys that were kidnapped by their father, and they tracked them from Utah into Mexico. And they ultimately found them, and they were able to get the children safely into custody and get the father in custody. He was arrested, and now State Department is working with Mexico to have the children reunited with their mother stateside back on U.S. soil. I found it very interesting that Lauren covered the story about these two children being parental kidnapping from Utah. And she was covering it when it was unknown if the children were safe. She was covering it in the same way that she was interested in JJ and Tylee and them going missing, right? Where if it had been for Kay and Larry Woodcock, maybe Lauren and maybe Lori and Chad would have gotten away with it, right? But thank God for loving parents, what Kay Woodcock being the biological grandmother of JJ. These loving parents that some may call helicopter parents or grandparents, or maybe they're over involved kind of, parenting. Stop. Love is love, and showing that love and showing care and concern and looking out for the welfare of children is not helicoptering. The reality of having free range children in 2026, it just can't be that way anymore. And I was free range, no question about it. I'd get up at Saturday, Sunday morning, and immediately I was getting dressed to go to the stables to take care of my horse, or sometimes we had several horses. And my dad would take me, drop me off. My friends would all be there with their horses, and we would just spend the whole day hanging around the stables, riding, taking the the horses out either in the arena, barrel racing or whatever, or going out on the trail. And then he'd show up, late afternoon, and they would usually barbecue or something like that at the stables. And he and I would be there with all of our friends until, I don't know, probably 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. And that was pretty much my norm. If I didn't go to the stables for some reason, I was out running around with the kids in the neighborhood. We'd go catch horned toads, do crafts. I mean, we did play the guitar. We did all kinds of things. But I think in today's world, it's too dangerous for that now. There's too many weirdos and creeps, and you do have to be more involved and care about what's happening. And all I can say is, thank God for Kay and Larry Woodcock. Thank God for Colby. Thank God that they went to cops as soon as they realized that there might be an issue with that they hadn't been really allowed to talk with Colby or Tylee. And thank goodness the other side of it too. Adam Cox, Lori's brother, and her nephews, Zach, thank God for them, because they too were speaking out. Now, people like Megan didn't help, right? Or Megan didn't help too much, but there were family members that were saying, this is not normal and this is not right. And please help us at least see the children, at least talk to them. Colby did videos like these kids were well loved and they had a lot of family. So these two little boys that were kidnapped by the dad, Lauren started covering that. And I thought, gosh, I hope we don't get a replay, right? And I was checking frequently, and all of a sudden, boom, there it was. They had found them. The kids were safe. The husband was in jail in Mexico, and the State Department was already working on it to bring him home. Did Lauren give an update? Did Lauren go live on her channel and say the boys are okay? Thank goodness they have been found. Thank goodness the husband is in custody. Thank goodness the mom is with the kids in Mexico trying to get visas to get them back across, back to the U.S. No, no, she did not. She did not. And I thought, there you go, right there, Lauren. Why are you so motivated to do the story when there could be children in harm's way? But you have zero interest in saying, oh, don't worry, everything, this has turned out to be a best case scenario. Thank goodness, right? Prayers of thanks. She didn't do that. I thought that was so interesting. And then when I made a statement about it in passing on one of the videos where I was talking about CrimeCon, she did a quick little blip. Oh, the boys are fine. They've been found. I was like, oh my God, Lauren, you're so predictable. Stop the madness. Stop the madness, Lauren Matthias. Okay. Yeah, do these stories, getting their pictures out there, letting people see, that increases the chances that they'll be found, right? But also, Lauren, celebrate when kids are not harmed. Don't just be that channel that only has interest in talking about little kids that have been brutalized and worse. Don't be that channel. You've turned into that. You're chasing views. You're only going after the stories that are big name, big view, big search engine stories. Don't do that. Bring the good news too. The good news matters. Okay. All right. Hey, oh my God, not that nonsense. Well, we're talking about the nonsense. OMG. An awesome mom of 2. My son is 11 and autistic. He is the happiest child with a wonderful personality. I got a job at the school when he started 6th grade because I wish someone would, and middle school is hard. Middle school is hard, and I think it's great when kids have their parents working at the school. I think it gives them an additional sense of safety and comfort. Seeing their mom in the hallways, things like that, I think it's good. Okay, so Brinley and Ty, this is a hell of a story, okay? Again, coming out of Utah, what in the hell is happening in Utah? Utah County, to be specific. How many of you have heard of David Levitt? Do y'all know who that is? Yeah, David Levitt. He is the district attorney in, I think it's the 4th district. I shouldn't say that because I'm not altogether positive about that. But David Levitt is not connected specifically to the Nightmare Upstairs case, but he is a district attorney in Utah who has a lot of controversy attached to him. There's a lot of controversy in family court in Utah County specifically, but in Utah, the greater Utah as well. And this is an area too where they have the ranches, right? The kids that go on the wilderness lockdown abuse, whatever you want to call it. This is where we get we get some very fundamentalist ideas about children, ownership of children, the rights of parents that could even include corporal punishment, for example. And you have to wonder if some of these cases that are coming out, and now I'm going to talk about specifically about Utah County. You have to wonder if some of these cases coming out of Utah County are not predicated on that very fundamentalist belief that children are possessions of the parents and the state or the public have no they have no position or no right or no standing to step in and say when too far is too far, right? That whatever a parent wants to do to a child is about the same as whatever a parent wants to do to a pet, even. Look, I don't want the government telling me what to do with my child. I don't want the government telling you what to do with your kid. I certainly don't want that. But I do think sometimes we can go a little too far with any of this. And anytime we have crossed this imaginary line of too far, I think we get into dangerous or potentially dangerous situations. And so this is one of the benefits of having two parents in the home. One of the benefits of having two parents in the home is that if one parent goes too far, there's another parent to say, hey, back up a little, back off. You're being a little too tough on the kid. Give us all some space and let's relax a bit, right? And I think when families are struggling to make the marriage work, you lose that protective benefit of the two-parent home where one parent provides support to the other parent, even if it is the kind of support that says, maybe we need to rethink what you're doing. And that was a big part of this case with Brinley and Ty in the beginning, that there were allegations when Brinley was 7 years old. Okay. And those are the big ones, in my opinion. I agree with John Matthias on that. But I also think that once it came out that the mother wanted a divorce and wanted away from the dad, then the accusations against the son came. And they were accusations of, you're taking things too far. You're being too aggressive. You're being too controlling. And rather than it getting worked out in the family, right, which is where it should be in a healthy family, that's where it would be worked out. Because there's a divorce on hand, it got used as a tool. The courts got drug into the disagreement, and turned into a tool. Now, you're going to hear John Matthias in this video where they covered the Hulu 2-part series, Nightmare Upstairs. And he points out, but in my opinion, rightly so, I'm 100% on board with John Matthias on this point, not on all of it, but this point, is that when Brinley innocently exposed her dad, he innocently, as a 7-year-old, told the story of what was going on when she was at dad's house. Okay. At that point, it should have become a matter of Child Protective Services and the court. Now, Child Protective Services did get involved. They did do an evaluation. They did go into both homes, evaluate the living conditions, talk to all of the adults that were involved. And in just the strangest, most perplexing reality, they just said, okay, we're not going to listen to Child Protective Services. Child Protective Services substantiated what the little 7-year-old girl was saying. And you have to think about this as well. Kids, 7-year-old children they don't have the imagination. Hold on a minute, Bill. Hang on just a second, please. Y'all, hold on just a second. I got to talk to Bill a second. I'll be right back. Hold on. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so oh my gosh, I lost track of where I was at. So the CPS substantiated the words of this 7-year-old little girl, right? And if you're dealing with a kid who's 13, 14, 15 years old, perhaps they're sophisticated enough, they've heard enough stories that maybe they can make up a story that they believe will keep them from having to go over to mom's house or dad's house for visitation. Maybe they'll go that far. I mean, I've seen it, right? But 7 years old? No. A little kid, 5, 6, 7 years old, they start not only telling the story of their abuse, we're talking about SA, they start telling the story of the abuse, or even worse or better, they demonstrate what someone has been doing to them. And that is really the way that most of these pedophiles get caught, is that small children are basically exposed to something and they begin to act it out, because all children act out what they're learning. They begin to act it out, and somebody goes, oh, whoa. That's not normal knowledge. Like, how would you have known to do that? And so here's a big way that the essay is uncovered, is you'll have one child that will act out on another child. It's innocent. It's natural for them to do what it is that they're learning. So you get one child act out on another child, that they get caught. Either the other child is like freaked out, like, what are you doing? Are you nuts? And then the parents get involved, and then they report it. And then DCF goes in, Child Protective Services goes in and questions the family and find out, oh, big brother is doing it, or big sister, or dad, or mom, or uncle, or aunt, or grandpa, or grandma. Okay. So it kind of becomes like you're tracking where. Usually you see it first with young kids who don't know to hide it. They act out on a kid, on another child. They get caught. Then CPS comes in, maybe law enforcement, and they begin questioning, and then it works its way up to a perpetrator. And then you got them, right? So everything about the initial story with the 7-year-old, that was it. That's where it should have ended. It absolutely should have ended right there. She wasn't telling on dad. She wasn't making up a story in a very extravagant or bombastic manner. Wasn't loud or crying or any of that. She simply acted what she had been exposed to, and the mother saw it and said, wait a minute, what's going on here? Okay. And then that's the way it unfolded. Now, my questions here are, excuse me, Utah County, what the hell is wrong with you guys? Excuse my language, but I'm so serious. I can't even be more serious. There are other crimes. There are other family court situations just like this, all coming out of Utah County. Here's one. Mom makes this allegation of abuse. It's physical, hitting and being physically assaultive with the guy's children. Mom makes an accusation. The kids make the accusations. What do? Dad and his defense attorney say, oh, it's parental alienation. Mom gets locked in jail for 5 days in the Utah County jail. It was Judge Christine Johnson that ordered mom. Tatum Merrill is a Tatum Merrill. Horrifying. And the son is saying he physically assaults me. My dad hates my guts. I'm not going there. I'm not going to a place where I am going to be harmed. If your child said, every day that I go to school, I'm getting football players beating me up that outweigh me by 100, 120 pounds. They're beating me up every day. You gonna keep sending your kid to that school? I'm not. I'm gonna try to figure out a way that my child can attend school, maybe have the perpetrator move to a different school. If we can't come to an understanding, I'm gonna quit my job and start homeschooling. I'm not going to have my child beaten on by anyone, even their biological father. Not going to happen, right? So there are plenty of these cases. Here's the deal. Coming out of Utah County specifically, that are so questionable because they're using the defense of parental alienation. And it's like, once they bring up parental alienation, these creepy judges, DAs, each case is, there's nuanced differences. Whatever it is, the judges just jump to attention and say, we're not going to have parental alienation. You're not getting away with that. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, you're seeing children that are growing into severe anxiety disorders. Let me tell you something, judges of the Utah County Bar of Idiocy. Little kids don't make up lies about SA. They don't even know that SA is a thing. They just act out what they've been exposed to, what they know. And if little kids are lying, if little kids have been coached to lie, they don't go on to gain 100 pounds after pretend SA. They don't go on to develop panic disorder and agoraphobia after being beaten and brutalized by a parent. That's not the way it works. If they're not telling the truth, they're generally just normal. They don't display those behavioral signs that something has gone really off the rails, right? So the heavy weight gain is something that is very often connected with kids that have had issues of SA or coercive control in the family. It insulates them. It makes them feel protected. You'll also have children that will intentionally soil the bed in an effort to keep the perpetrator away from them, make it unpleasant, right? So I'm not going to go into all these difficult details, but what I'm saying to you is that the court has access, the court as an institution has access to people that know this information. They have access to psychologists that know how to do a proper forensic interview with little children. They have the proper facilities, which is a playroom with very specific types of toys. And the trained psychologist understands how to be non-directive. Children play with what they know. They act out what it is that they are learning. And if you're smart, if you know these things, you know to sit back and be quiet and wait on the child to play. And the child will tell you everything you need to know about what's happening in the home. Everything. And I'm not going to go any further than that. But make no mistake about it. When Utah County, when this judge, Christine, when she ignored the cries for help from Brinley at 7 years of age, she is 100% responsible for everything that happened in the next 8 years. It could have been ended right there. The dad could have been prosecuted. Other children could have been protected. Ty should never have reached an age where he's being now SA'd and brutalized by his father. It should have stopped there when Brinley innocently did what she knew to do because she had been exposed to it, and mom accidentally saw it. At that point, mom did exactly the right thing. She called law enforcement. She did exactly the right thing. You don't immediately run to a lawyer. There's a crime that's been committed if your little 7-year-old is acting out some unusual behaviors. Okay. So I do agree with John Matthias on that point. Okay. So the dad in this story is BJ. He's referred to as BJ. His name is Brent Larson. The mother is Jessica Zart. Okay, so she's Jessica. They didn't know one another very long when they got married. They got divorced in 2012. And like I said, the discovery didn't happen until 2018, 6 years after divorce. That's another issue. And I don't think that John Matthias comments on this, but you get a divorce in 2012, but the accusations don't happen until 2018. I'm going to call BS on that if I'm the evaluator. These people don't wait 6 years to start abusing someone. That is not the way it works. If it's parental alienation, if Jessica was trying to alienate the children from BJ, the dad, if that was what this whole thing was, that this was a huge ruse that was put out by Jessica, the mom, that it was some kind of like maybe a money grab or something like whatever you're going to hear John and Lauren say, it would not have happened in 2018 when they had been apart, divorced for 6 years. The man had already gone on and gotten married to another woman. So right there, the idea of parental alienation by the dad, BJ, or by the mom, Jessica, doesn't work. Just doesn't work. The parental alienation stuff starts during the initial separation, the divorce, the early years of divorce. The parental alienation gets all wrapped up in who's going to win the divorce wars. It's basically adults acting like kindergartners. Okay. You don't have normal visitation and get along well for 6 years. Then you decide, oh, we're going to do parental alienation or accusations of abuse that aren't true or whatever. You just don't do that. So the way that this played out is accidentally, innocently, Brinley acted out. The mother witnessed it and said, what's going on? Like, why are you doing that? And she said, because that's the way my dad told me to do it. That's what he has me do. That's what he showed me. Right. And then from that point on, the mother got busy trying to protect her children. And the son, it was discovered that the son also was being mistreated. So the 7-year-old Brinley acted out in March of 2018, told her mom how she learned this action. In November of 2018, just a few months later, Ty, the older brother, said, this is what's happening to me, including holding Ty's head underwater as he's berating him and punishing him, taking this 11-year-old little boy and holding his head under the water. So extreme. It's just so extreme. Okay. So from March to November 2018, this mother was just blindsided, right, with these horrible stories that the kids were coming out with. And it was only once the stories were told by Brinley and Ty that dad pops up with his, smarmy attorney and says, oh, no, this is parental alienation. And then you've got an idiot judge who says, oh, we're not going to have parental alienation. You kids will go see your dad. Remember, CPS, Child Protective Services, they substantiated the accusations of the 8-year-old. The 7-year-old, Brinley, the little girl. And Christine, the judge, just ignored it. All right. So that's where we are. The Utah, what I keep calling CPS, Child Protective Services, Utah DCFS, Department of Child and Family Services, CPS would be housed in DCFS. Substantiated claims. Listen to this. There's the exact verbiage in the court documents. Severe and chronic abuse of a 7-year-old little girl who's showing the biological, the physical signs of SA, the behavioral signs of SA, and physical abuse, severe and chronic. Not one little isolated incident like BJ and his attorney try to say, right? DCFS, CPS, they ordered supervised visitation. There were protective orders that were issued. However, prosecutors never filed criminal charges. You know what they said? Insufficient evidence. Oh, wait. Oh, excuse me. I deal with CPS. There was a period in my professional history about 5 to 9 years ago, that about 4 to 5 year span. I was dealing with CPS every day. Let me tell you something about CPS. They don't have enough beds. The need of our children in our society is so great. We literally don't have enough placement locations for the kids that need help. And what that translates into is that children don't get removed from their homes unless there's a huge issue, right? Like a bad issue, a severe and chronic issue. So when DCFS issues a report to the court saying, you got to protect these babies, you got to protect them. What has happened to them physically, we have evidence. They cannot go back to that house. But what did the prosecutor do? What? I don't see nothing going on here. This is clearly a man's rights to his children being violated. Bad. Wrong execution of the right idea. So litigation began and was ongoing. Brent, BJ, basically going after Jessica with the parental alienation stuff, which is real. It's a real thing. And you're going to, now, I believe that, I think that John Matthias says that it's controversial. I think that's what he says it. Excuse me, John. If you've seen it clinically, there's no controversy about it. You can see the signs. It's pretty, the stories that these kids tell are the kind of stories that make you want to wrap them up in your arms and take them home and protect them from all the big bad wolves out there. Okay. So he's presenting this idea of parental alienation in a very soft form, in my opinion. I am fighting for the protection of children. I'm not taking the soft route. If someone is lying, if a parent is lying, it will come out. The kids won't be able to keep it up because they are not that sophisticated in cognitively. Their brains have not developed sufficiently to keep a long-running ruse going. What do you think? You think that Brinley intentionally gained a ton of weight? You think she said, oh, I know that that's something that, I need to do to try to pretend that I'm in, distress. She doesn't know that. She doesn't know that. Okay. So no accusations of parental alienation before the very innocent outcry of Brinley. She did not know she was doing anything wrong. She did not know that she was going to get anybody in trouble. She was simply doing what she had learned. And it was observed by the mom, and the mom reacted appropriately. That's it. And from then on out, you hold Utah County, you hold their district attorney, you hold that silly idiot judge, all responsible for what these two children and this mother have been through. It is a nightmare. They even ordered, listen to this nonsense. They even ordered, the judge ordered that the boy, Ty, could not keep going to his therapist. Now you're, not only are you trying to force a kid to have contact with the perpetrator, but you're also now going to say this therapist that you've bonded with, who is increasing your self-esteem and your confidence and improving your self-image, we don't like what he believes is happening, and so we're going to just fire him, rip him away from you, rip him out of your life, and give you another one that's going to say something that we like a little bit better. We're going to give the therapist that we want the kids to have. You are the problem. You're the problem, just like Jody Hildebrandt. You are the problem, and now you are giving therapists that align with your philosophy, which is exactly what went on with Jody Hildebrandt and the Mormon Church. Exactly. So, as a therapist or licensed social worker or psychologist, a mental health expert that is having direct client care, you must not be a court whore, especially where children are concerned. Look, if you're open to corruption, if you're willing to take money to say whatever they want you to say, if your signature and your license is for sale, then why don't you go into like criminal court and do your evaluations in criminal court, where maybe you won't be doing so much damage. Don't do it in family court where little kids are being affected. Don't do that. When you're dealing with little kids, you need to be dealing with what your best professional knowledge is, and you need to be acting in a way that is protective of the child. Parents be damned. Sincerely. So that's kind of how this whole thing happened. Starting in 2018, having this outcry, and then this went on until December the 8th, 2022. By now, Ty, the little boy, is 15. Brinley is 12. Remember, this starts when they're 7 and 11. Now they're 12 and 15. They literally they build a barricade with wood and nails and furniture. They build a barricade in their upstairs bedroom. They cut a hole in the wall so they can enter the bathroom. They have a little cooking area in the bathroom. Mom is like mashing sandwiches to slide them under the barricade wall that was built. And the cops are at the door saying, we're going to kick your door in. We're going to tear down your barricade. You will go and spend time with your dad. Yeah, that's what these kids are dealing with. So good job, Utah County, you bunch of idiots, in my opinion. All right. Now let's go ahead. That's kind of the background and information. Both Utah and Texas treat parental alienation as Utah is is more stern. Okay. They say it's conduct that affects the child's best interest. Utah and Texas both being sort of parent first states. But Utah being far more fundamental about that, right? In Texas, we got some really, really good family court judges that will lecture people that it is abuse, that when they see evidence, when they have a good evaluation by a reputable psychologist, when they see that parental alienation justification, the judges react and want to protect the child first. And that becomes the goal at that point. Which parent is the healthiest environment, right? Utah's just sort of like, look, your kids are your property, and we don't really care how you treat them, but they do have to go see their parent. So it's messy. It's messy in Texas too. Don't get me wrong. California does a much better job of child first, right? Child advocacy, guardian ad litems that are treated with respect and have a lot of influence in the court. Texas and Utah, our kids belong to parents, and so they're a little scary about it. But we have some great family court judges who all they want is to do the best for the kids. And they don't get into the politics of which parent is doing what. It's what does this child need? So, all right. Utah, they have statute 81-9-24. This parental alienation basically affects custody modifications. If there is proof of parental alienation, meaning documented patterns through text and email visitation logs, video recordings, audio recordings, witness therapist testimony. Therapists they have a lot of influence on their evaluations, which is why if you are doing forensic evaluations, if you're doing family court evaluations, please be an ethical person. Don't do it for the money. Don't be a court whore. Don't do that. Not where little kids are concerned. You could save their lives by being honest. So in evaluations, and you don't just collect historical data in your evaluations. You don't just talk to the kids today and the here and now. You also look at behavioral changes. You look for patterns that begin to emerge, familiar patterns that begin to emerge at the time that this person came into their life, or the time in which the child is no longer being protected by the mom or the dad. And you look to see those characteristic signs. And I do not talk about the characteristic signs to look for, because I don't want to inadvertently teach a abuser how to avoid detection. I don't want to do that. So Texas does a little bit better in terms of the child's best interest, and they're not as stringent on their frequent contact policies. And it's been my experience that family court judges will listen to the psychologist. They will listen to the DCFS or CPS recommendations. And they don't really get bogged down in the he said, she said, as what we're seeing coming out of Utah County. Please remember this. It's not just Brindley and Ty. It's Tatum. There are many families that have basically been abused by Utah County court system, the judges, the prosecutors. It is a real problem that children are just possessions in Utah County. All right. I'm not including all of Utah there. I'm restricted to Utah County, and I'm giving you my opinions. So here's a big question. Is parental alienation used by abusers as a defense against being caught? Resounding yes. Loud, booming, hell yes. And in Texas, the family courts know that. They talk about that. That is a statement that is inserted into the report, which is why it is so incredibly notable in the case of Ty and Brindley that the divorce happens and then they spend years with no kind of accusation of parental alienation. The mom is not seemingly doing things to try and push the dad away from the kids. They're going on visitation. And then when Brindley makes this innocent. There's this innocent discovery. Then suddenly, mom's the problem and it's parental alienation. And now the judge is saying, you will go visit your dad. And lady, you better quit messing with those kids. You better quit lying. I mean, it is shocking. And DCFS said, this is chronic and severe abuse. You must protect these children. The judge just didn't care. Just didn't care, right? All right, so let's go ahead and start listening. I thought, look, here's where I start. Lauren, why? Nicole Kessinger, right? Why now? Why now? Why do you take this video, this discussion of Nightmare Upstairs? We've got two little kids that are barricading themselves in their room because police are trying to drag them kicking and screaming to go see the non-custodial parent. Why do you choose this video to put a picture of your child online in this video? Why? Just the judgment is very strange to me. Odd. I don't know why she did it. I have no idea. There you go. More. I just don't understand. And then we get, like, immediately you get two pictures of Super Mom, and we immediately go right into kids vitamins. Buy 60 gummies, dietary supplements, the multi superfoods for kids. What are you eating? Oh, donuts. All kinds of donuts, actually. Like, I don't think there is anything in this world that would allow me, my brain would not be able to allow me to put that purple dye in my body. That's pretty intense, isn't it? That's whole lot of dye going on right there. I don't know why. This looks pretty nice, right? Fresh fruit and stuff. This looked very, very nice. And then we get this fun kind of look at us eating this very elegant breakfast along with 2 donuts or 3 donuts, because it looks like the little boy's already eaten a donut. And those are, it looks to me, it's like maybe poached eggs and maybe some kind of sausage. Is that sausage or maybe sausage? And then on the other side, it's like a cheese and vegetable tray. And then you got these bizarre donuts. Okay, so I'm okay. Look, I eat junk. I love junk. But then we do this. What is this? Is this Super Mom? What are we doing here? I am so perplexed and confused. And why would you show your child with this video, this topic? Why would you do that? What do you guys think? Do you think I'm being a little petty? Okay, Diane, enjoy church. It was good to see you. Oh, man. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. Okay, so there's the vitamins, right? Now, look. That's the first picture to come up. This is the video about Nightmare Upstairs, where they're going to talk about this story and they're going to give their reactions and such, right? First time she ever put her child online, I believe. If I'm wrong about that, please excuse me, because I certainly have not seen all their videos, and I certainly don't watch every video end to end. But I think this is the first time, right? So you get this, looks fine, looks like a nice little happy birthday kind of, celebration thing. It looked fine. Then you get this. I don't know. I guess this is weird hotel brunch kind of thing, right? That's okay. I'm not passing judgment. I just don't know why. I don't think I would want to eat poached eggs and sausage and then turn around and eat a bright or dark purple donut. It's just me, my preferences. But then remember, this is the video about Nightmare Upstairs, where the two kids barricade themselves. Their parents are such a disaster. She's never put her kid on another video, I don't think. I think this is first time. We get 2 pictures of her being super mom. And then watch this. This is the commercial segment. It says, she has these ad breaks. She puts a placard on, says ad. You get this picture. You get this picture. And then you get kids multivitamins, superfoods. What? We also get Lauren doing this weird thing that John is not a performer, that he's authentic, and that makes him special, right? Okay, but is this authentic, Lauren? Is it authentic that on a video that is discussing one of the saddest, most abusive cases in recent years, so sad and so upsetting that they made a series about these 2 kids? You choose that to put up photographs of your little child? And then you follow both of those loving, sweet family pictures. You follow with an ad for children's vitamins? What do you guys think? What are your opinions? Hey, Cinnamon Hot. Yeah, weird, creepy. Yeah, I'm with you, Sketty Nona. It is... There's nothing honest here, Lauren. You went on and on and on about John's not a performer and he's authentic and he's honest. This isn't. This is manipulative. And I'm frankly, gross, right, Elizabeth? Frankly, I'm disturbed that you would cover this story. I mean, you keep saying in your review video, you keep saying how, I was just crying and crying. I was just crying so hard for Ty when he stood up to his dad. I just cried. Why did you feel a compulsion to make a statement on what a good mom you are? You are a true crime channel. You do coverage of contemporary cases. No one ever stops to think, I wonder if Lauren is a good mom. She's covering murder and mayhem. Does this mean she's a good mom? Nobody cares if you're a mom. You're talking about the death and the destruction and the abuse of other people's children, not your own child. So why did you need to post these photographs of your kid? You've never done that before. And then you got to slip in your ad. You got to make that money. You've manipulated them now. You've given them information about 2 abused children, the worst kind of abuse on the planet. And then you followed up with these very warm and loving photographs of you being mommy of the year, right? You get those little pictures in. After you talk about the abuse, then you put the 2 pictures of your sweet moment with your child, which is very appropriate and normal. And what is not normal is that it's on this video and you follow it up selling children's vitamins. This ad that you're looking at, this is not AdSense. This is not an ad that's been inserted by Google or by YouTube. She makes her videos. She puts in a marker, a placard that says ad, insert ad. And then I guess that they make a bunch of videos, maybe like like she does commercials. And then I guess Grayson decides where to insert these commercials or ads. This is it. This is what they're selling. Did Grayson do it like totally independent? If so, then my question is, John, what is your opinion of this? Do you see anything strange about doing a video about Nightmare Upstairs? And this is the unveiling of Lauren with her son. What a good mom. And these are very sweet and appropriate photographs of family time. It's normal. And then we put in a children's multivitamins, superfoods. Children need their macros. Let's get it in there. Now that they're all emotional with the bad and they're all emotional with the good, let's go for the money. Damn. So bad, isn't it? So bad. All right.
They are transparent about ingredients. There's nothing artificial or unnecessary. And they make different formulas.
Nothing artificial. Just like John is authentic. They're so honest in everything they do. Please stop. Just
for
stop.
Kids, teens, and adults. Instead of doing a one-size is a little better. And for a limited time only, our listeners, our gems are getting an insane
It's a limited time. Don't think too long or you're going to lose your opportunity to buy these beautiful, wonderful, best of the best firstday.com kids vitamins. And wait, that's not all. There's more. You get a free gift. Oh, she's doing it. She's doing it.
Use code HIDDEN to get up to 57% off at firstday.com. That's up to 57% off and a free gift with code HIDDEN at firstday.com. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that Hidden True Crime sent you.
Oh, look, see? Returning to video. This was the break that was inserted in her produced video that was for the insertion of an ad to sell something, to make some money. John Matthias, do you have any idea what they're doing with you? The first time she shows her child is in order to sell children's vitamins and to show, look, I'm a good mom. The parents in this video are bad moms. John? Woo, woo, woo.
Now, a lot of times the system will err on the side of protecting the victims.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's interesting about this situation is that's not necessarily the case.
I agree.
Oh, how do you agree?
Okay.
What do you know? You don't know anything about it. Nothing. So why do you act like you do? Why don't you got him on there. He's your licensed clinical forensics super duper never better psychologist of all time in the history of the world. You got him there. He's talking. You got him losing weight. You're making him look all spiffy and modern. You're molding him into what you want him to be so he can make you look good. Why don't you let him talk? Why do you have to pretend that you know what he knows? You don't. You don't have the knowledge, the education, the experience that he has. Why won't you let him talk?
Go on.
So
I guess maybe I should ask you a question, but I'm just waiting. Okay, keep going. Keep going. You don't think that's the case?
I don't think that's the case. I think one of the things this documentary gets horribly wrong And one of the things the system gets horribly wrong about this situation is you have to go back to the first allegation of abuse.
Yes.
I agree with that.
The part where I paid the most attention in this documentary was in part 1, where the allegate. So you have a situation.
I thought this was interesting too. Watch where they take the break.
Case.
I agree. Okay, go on.
So
I guess maybe I should ask you a question, but I'm just waiting. Okay, keep going. Keep going. You don't think that's the case?
I don't think that's the case. I think one of the things this documentary gets horribly wrong, and one of the things the system gets horribly wrong about this situation is you have to go back to the first allegation of abuse.
I agree with that.
The part where I paid them.
You see the break there? Very interesting break right there, right? I'm not sure exactly what is going on. I don't know. Okay, 100%. I agree with John Matthias on this point that the real issue was the allegations in 2018 by a 7-year-old little girl that DCFS said that it is chronic and severe abuse, and we need to not only keep these children out of this house, but there should be restraining orders in place so that this man can't come around them, so that this family is protected from this guy that may be unstable. And the prosecutor, the judge, they responded exactly in the opposite manner. So the question is then, okay, why did the documentarians, the people that made this, why did they ignore that? Why didn't they focus on the prosecutors are imbeciles? The judge is even worse. The judge is contributing to the abuse that occurs over the next 8 years, right? That if the judge and the prosecutors had simply taken the judgment and the guidance by DCFS, they had taken the judgment and the guidance of the mental health experts that evaluated the children, or even those that were doing therapy with the children. If they had done that, all of these other 8 years of abuse would never have happened. To me, that's the story. That's what mattered. That the child had the right to be protected and was not. And in fact, when they build the barricade, it is actually it's Ty who is protecting his sister. He's also protecting himself because he's also the victim of abuse, but he is trying to protect his sister. But the people that made the documentary, they don't point the fingers at the judge and the prosecutor. And then John and Lauren didn't either. Very interesting to me. Utah County,
Most attention in this documentary was in part 1, where the allegate. So you have a situation where Bryn Lee goes to her mother. She's 7 years old, and she says, "Mom, this happened to me with Dad, with the cream. Dad touched me. Dad,
I don't want to
engaged in
This abuse.
Okay, we're not gonna do the description of what happened. All right, so this is the mom and the dad in question. All right, this is the mom and dad in question. Thank you. I'm getting my power cord because my computer is about to die.
Jessica,
His ex-wife
correct.
in the documentary then.
Correct.
Thank you.
Now, when I do interviews, I ask questions around the abuse as well. When I ask that question and I get some answer like that, that's a red flag, right? Like the answer should be simple. No, I didn't do that.
Now, he kind of got this. Well, he did get this wrong. The dad did say, "I didn't do this." Okay, he says the dad says a lot of things, But he does say, I didn't do this. But the huge red flag, and I do agree with John Matthias on this, the huge red flag was, oh, wait a minute. The cream, what she's saying is because mom doesn't bathe her. Right? Now, that is what you hear from abusers. That is the way that abusers manage accusations. You ask a question, you make an accusation, and what do? They turn around on you or on the kid. And they become the victim. BJ is the quintessential victim. Everybody's against poor old BJ. And his mommy is there to protect him and to tell the world what a great guy he is and how evil these two children and this mother are for the things they're saying against BJ. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, BJ, in fact, did do these things. And just like a good liar, he admits to a little bit. He admits to a little bit of what the daughter said to try to make it look like he's telling the truth. But that's a tactic that liars use to kind of trick people, right? Look, when you listen to these liars, you get accustomed to how they lie and the tools that they use. And then you don't even ask questions anymore because you know the lies, that you know how they're going to talk. So you just don't even ask, right? So the dad does say, I didn't, blah, blah, blah. But initially, and this is what part matters, initially he says, well, maybe these things did happen, but it's because the mom wouldn't bathe her properly. There was poor hygiene. And then, oh, well, this is parental alienation. She wants my kids to hate me. And so from that point on, then he hasn't been a victim in 6 years. He hasn't made any of these accusations, said a single word about hygiene, none of that for 6 years. But the minute that the little girl makes an outcry, now he's a victim, right? All right.
No, there was no cream. No, right? Like this should be clear cut. But that's not what Brent says. Brent kind of meanders around the question. He blames his ex-wife.
With the hygiene.
He says there was no bathing. Think about this. He says there was no bathing. No bathing was happening at Jessica's house. Like, okay, so.
But for 6 years, you got divorced in 2012. You didn't make a single accusation to anyone that the hygiene was not there, that it was poor. You never said a word. The only time you started that was after she makes an outcry of essay.
What? That doesn't mean like, what does that have to do with the cream? So is he saying like, don't get a direct answer? If you're clear about not abusing a child, you say, I absolutely didn't abuse that child.
I did not.
There was no cream involved. You don't talk about bathing and grooming habits, right? This is all obfuscation.
Yep.
This is all some element of potential. I don't know for sure. This is all some element of it's red flags. It's potential guilt because you have somebody who's dancing around the issue.
Interesting.
Yep.
When I see this, I right away, I'm concerned that there's issues here. The other thing I would look at is you want to look at the victim's statement.
Mm-hmm.
Is the victim giving a detailed, accurate description of something that I think would be considered sexual abuse? In other words, so you have a victim saying this is what happened. There was cream involved, right? All of that is fairly detailed.
It is very.
A 7-year-old isn't typically going to, this is not a child saying, "Daddy touched me inappropriately."
Okay, and this is the part we're not gonna do this because he gets very descriptive about what's said, and I don't think that's appropriate for a YouTube channel. I think where YouTube is concerned in these general conversations, I think it's appropriate to say there was an outcry made that wouldn't have been something that the little girl would have just known, right? That she had to have experienced something in order to be able to describe not only what the mom says that she said, but what the mom witnessed her doing. It was not normal behavior, really, for any age. And, you know, you have to think about their age and their experience. Do you know enough to make up that lie? And you just don't. I do feel like this is a case where the kids are 100% telling the truth. I do think that, and I do agree with John Matthias. It does go back to the initial outcry when she was 7 and how she described things. But we don't need to. That is not the kind of thing that needs to happen on a YouTube channel, and it certainly, in my opinion, shouldn't be something that is read or described by a man. I wouldn't do it. I don't want a woman to do it. I don't want a mom to do it. But it's just like with that case in Oklahoma with the football player, where John Matthias read the police report, and the young ladies described minute by minute what they experienced by this football player, and it was not appropriate for a man to be putting out into the public, and it really wasn't even appropriate for me or anybody else to be putting it out. It was the kind of information that should have been restricted to the cops and the therapist or a medical doctor, and nobody else, really. So I don't even know why that wouldn't have been protected in terms of a FOIA release. I don't even know why he had access to that report. But he did. And once again, he did not exercise good judgment. He read it. It's like if they make a FOIA request and they get the response back, they think, okay, this is my license to put whatever I want out there, even if it's illegal or inappropriate. Lauren released phone calls, protected phone calls between Alec Murdaugh and his damn attorneys from the jail. That she knew. She covers true crime. She knew that she absolutely should not have been given those phone records. But somebody made a mistake with the FOIA documents, FOIA request, and released it. And what did she do? Played it on her channel. She made the news on Fox News. Fox News said, why did this chick do this? What the hell's wrong with her? So now we have, John, you do forensic evaluations with minor children. You didn't understand or know that a young lady, a minor, that her police report, her statement of what happened to her should never have been released to anybody in a FOIA request. It should have been redacted. And you know that. But you read it anyway, right there on your channel. Very strange judgment, in my opinion.
I've had a lot of cases, by the way, that are not that are similar to this, in the sense that there have been ointments and cream used with the same type of explanation.
Be careful.
Well, she was, nothing. None of this first of all, none of this is necessary. Like, in a way, it's a tell, because when you talk about having cream and not bathing, you're kind of saying indirectly that you did something.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right. There's something happened. It's just maybe not what.
Was it? What do I know for sure that it was sexual in nature? No. Could it have been legitimately a situation where he wanted to bathe?
Now, this is inappropriate. You're now speculating. You're attributing motivations to the little girl as well as the dad that you have absolutely zero reason to believe, other than you're just drawing something out of thin air. And that is absolutely inappropriate. You can only judge what someone says or what you have evidence for. And now you're just making shit up. It's like you're writing a book or something.
His 7-year-old child, like, maybe, but it doesn't. it doesn't necessarily add up for me. When you combine these elements, it raises a lot of questions.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
raises a lot of red flags,
Absolutely.
right? Because this is not the type of response that I would expect. Somebody
Agreed.
that's clear cut about not committing sexual abuse is going to tell me that. No, I did not touch my child. There was no cream.
Okay. Now, the dad does say, I didn't do this. He admits that there was cream, Desitin ointment, like diaper rash ointment. But at this point, I don't even care, because you got a 7-year-old doing something and describing something that in no way would she have any ability for knowing anything about it unless she experienced it. So all this other nonsense doesn't even matter. You can just look at the developmental age, the description, and understand that this child has had some type of experience, and that's bad. And she's claiming that it was dad, right? And at some point, we do need to listen to the kids. They're the ones that are being victimized.
This is false. I didn't bathe my child.
You've heard this time and time.
I've heard this many times. I've had a number of sex offenders in my groups
Common defense
that have done this, have argued this very thing.
Yep.
They've argued.
Yep.
That, they called it ointment.
This is the common tool or tactic of a liar. They take the accusation and they choose a little bit to admit to. A little bit to say, yeah, that did happen, but here's where my child got it wrong. Or it's not just in the case of SA, it could be any lie that's being told. They just take a little bit that they want to admit to. Well, I had sex with another woman just one time, a one night stand at a bar. That's all it was. So don't hold me responsible. Don't be mad at me. Well, if they're admitting to that, the reality is it is probably real affairs. There's probably lots of screwing around. They take one little sliver of truth in the hopes that it loses its impact, that it's not as profoundly bad as what the reality is. Okay. And that's what he's doing when in my opinion, that's what he's doing when he says, oh, well, I had Desitin ointment. It wasn't cream. It wasn't lotion. It was Desitin ointment. He's just choosing a little bit to make it seem more natural, right? Oh, yes, I'm providing medical care to my child. She had an infection. I'm providing medical care. Okay, asshole. You don't have a family doctor? You're a well-to-do. You got money in your family. You're intelligent people. You don't have a doctor? You don't have a pediatrician? You can't take your child to the doctor and get properly medicated, response from professionals? You're just running around pretending to be Dr. BJ? No, sorry, not even going there.
Whatever. It's the same. I've seen this. I've heard this. I've treated offenders that have done this. And the amazing thing about the offenders I've worked with this exact situation is eventually they acknowledge they did it.
Yeah.
They're not going to graduate from my groups unless the other offenders in the groups are like, come on.
So when you have offenders come, they've even served their time or whatever, but they're there for therapy, they're still saying they didn't do it. And at the end, they all come in, not all, many sex offenders enter my groups in denial, complete denial. So they'll have this story about she had an infection, or I wasn't touching her privates. I was just putting every single one of those cases by the end of groups, and often it takes years, but by the end of groups, they all say, I sexually abused her. Interesting.
So it's interesting. It's interesting that in this case, that BJ or Brent is not referred. Why didn't he get referred for offender treatment?
Right. Well, there were no charges, but he could have still been referred.
Why weren't there charges?
Well, I know that. I mean, that's
100% my question. You have a DCFS report saying chronic and severe abuse. We need restraining orders issued immediately. These children need to be protected from the stated environment where these things have happened to them. Remember what I told you about Ty? The weird guy, BJ, was holding his little head under the water until he got the answer that he wanted from his son. If you want, you can take out the whole extraordinary SA allegations, the emotional manipulation, if that's what you feel like it is. Can we just deal with he's trying to teach his child, he's upset with his child, and to use coercive control, he takes an 11-year-old, 10-year-old, 9-year-old, 8-year-old little boy and asked him a question, and when the little boy gave the wrong answer, he would push his head down in the bath water and hold his head down there and then let it up, and then ask him the question again, get the wrong answer, hold his head under the water. Is that enough for this judge? Is that enough for these prosecutors? Because DCFS, the mother, both children, they're all saying this horrible thing is happening to me. And it was the prosecutor in Utah County that said, oh, this is all a big misunderstanding. We don't need to file any charges against good old boy BJ. Look how handsome he is. That's a handsome man. We don't need to put a guy like that in jail. He's white. Look at him. We don't need him to go to jail. And then the judge, a woman, then began to terrorize the children by saying, I don't give a damn what you guys want. I don't care what you say. I don't care what CPS does. You are going to go spend time with your dad because he's the dad. He's the man. He's a good-looking white guy who refuses to work or hold a job, but he's got a mommy who is so in denial about the reality of her child that she just gives this loser money. Hold the prosecutors responsible. Hold the judge responsible. Hold the voters responsible in the county. This county, Union County, is a problem. Get on the Google and double check me if I'm lying. There are so many of these cases coming out of Utah County. I think I said Union County, Utah County. Why? Why?
I know. Ask Utah County.
That's where this is political.
There's another ad break.
When we first started.
Okay. Why, Lauren? Why are we showing private, personal pictures during your ad breaks? Why? Oh my God.
Hidden True Crime. I honestly felt like I had to learn 10 different jobs overnight. And
okay, so she's now taking responsibility for her whole channel, that she's the one who made the whole channel, and that her big 330,000 subscriber channel is 100% her work. You know what, Lauren? I had to learn how to do it too. I didn't know a damn thing about making videos or doing public commentary. I didn't know anything about any of that. But have you taken a look at your views? Because the views when John appears are dramatically more impressive than when it's just you. So why do you feel that you have to push that you're the heart and soul of the channel? You did a good job. You and Grayson are obviously making content people like, but quit minimizing what your husband is contributing. People like to come and see a man in true crime. YouTube
built for both huge brands.
I don't know if that's a lot of lonely women in the true crime community, or they just particularly think he's, smart or handsome, or I don't know what the deal is, but he gets a ton of views. You get a lot of views too, but not anywhere close to what he brings to the table.
But oftentimes it's sufficient that if you have a detailed victim statement
I know.
and you have an offender who's.
How do you know? How do you know, Lauren? You're a journalist. You were eating chocolate covered bacon, for God's sake, at the county fair while he was getting a PhD. So how do you know these things?
In an interview who's contradicting himself, those two elements are usually sufficient to bring charges.
Yes.
Even if those charges are not severe.
Oh, they should.
Even if those charges are lesser charges.
Yeah.
Which could be, I don't know, let's say not assault, but maybe lewdness. I mean, lewdness is serious. But the point is that oftentimes, if I saw this exact situation in Nevada, the DA would bring charges.
Yeah, the little girl really gave a very detailed account. That was what was very clear in episode 1.
There would be, one of the problems here is, and this is why you get the barricade, is because nobody believes the victims.
Yes,
That's how far they went.
right.
Nobody believes the victim.
Nobody believes the victims, right? The barricade becomes symbolic of a place for a place of safety and
Again, the people that made the documentary missed the story. They buried the lead. They missed the story. The story is not about two kids building a barricade to protect themselves from their dad. That's not the story, is it? The story is Utah County. The story is what in the what, beepity beep beep, what in the world is going on in Utah County that these children are put into a position that they have to build a barricade, because make no doubt about it, who was the barricade for? Were they barricading the mom out? No. Were they barricading the dad out? No, he wasn't even coming around. Who were they barricading out? Do y'all know? Who are they barricading against? They were protecting themselves against whom? Put it in the chat if you know the answer. Right, exactly, Lil Red. You're 100% right. Who were they keeping out with the barricade that they built? Yes, Rebecca. They barricaded the police out. They built the barricade to protect themselves against the police. And the police were acting on the authority of the judge and the district attorney. That's the story. But they buried the lead. They told the wrong story. This is not a controversial story between one parent making an accusation of abuse and the other parent making an accusation of parental alienation. That is not the story. It's not the story. The story is, this is Utah County prosecutors and judges that are failing to protect the community's children against criminals. They're picking and choosing men over little kids. That's the story. But Hulu did not want to talk about that. The people that made the documentary, they didn't talk about it. They cut that out. There's a few comments, but for the most part, it wasn't discussed. And then we've got John and Lauren, who did not follow up on that very thing until John gets very emotional. And then he starts saying, wait a minute. Why weren't charges brought? Now, that is actually the story. That is what the documentary got wrong. That's what makes controversy, is the fact that you've got prosecutors and judges failing to protect the children of Utah County. But Lauren Matthias started this video by saying this was a documentary about a very controversial situation where one parent is saying abuse and the other parent is saying parental alienation. Which one is right? No, Lauren, that is not the point. That is not what makes this controversial. It is the fact that the prosecutor, the district attorney, the judges of Utah County are victimizing children. They're sending children back in to the lair of the wolf. That's the story, Lauren. That's what you got wrong. In my opinion.
Prison, it becomes both. The barricade is fight, flight, and freeze, all combined in one.
Oh, wow.
You have the barricade is a way, although that's complicated too. And I'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
Like even the barricade is a little, there's some ambiguity there, which when I saw something in that barricade, it just blew me away. I had to pause and just reflect.
Okay.
Because I'm like,
okay, I'm about to barf. Okay, please excuse that word. I know it's not very professional, but it is highly appropriate for what you are about to hear. When I heard him say this, I just rolled my eyes. I said, oh my God, John, please. God, it's like we make one step forward and then you push it and we go 2 steps back. Like he says things and I go, yes, this is on track. This is good. I can support what you're saying. And then he comes up with this nonsense. Okay. So this is a preparation for you guys. All right. Take a drink of water, Sprite if you have it. Start breathing now, deep breaths in through your nose, slow, long exhale. Because he's about to just say something silly as hell. Okay.
Away. I had to pause and just reflect because I'm like, I can't believe what I just saw.
You saw something in the barricade?
Yes.
Did you pause and go back?
Yes.
And you saw it?
I saw it again and again and again. And I was like, what is going on here? Right. But we'll talk about that. See what happens when a forensic psychologist watches a documentary as opposed to someone who's not looking for these things.
Barf. Blah, blah. Everybody go ahead and gag. This is the appropriate moment to gag. Blah, blah, blah. See what happens when you have a forensic psychologist looking for these things? John, you saw a light. That's it. I fail to understand the significance of the light. Why is that something that only the astute eyes of true crime could see? It's clearly there. You can see it really loud and clear. And here's my point, John. This is a family that had a YouTube or a TikTok channel. They had a TikTok channel. These are kids growing up in an era where when you ask a 4th grader, what do you want to do when you grow up? Back when you were a child, kids would say, I want to be a fireman, or I want to be a teacher, or I want to be Batman, right? In today's world, what do 4th graders, kids who are 9, 10, 11 years old, what do they say they want to do? Oh, they want to be an influencer. They want to be a Kardashian. That was actually a answer on one of these polls that was presented toward children, elementary age children. What would you like to be when you grow up? And like the second most popular answer was a Kardashian. Kids are growing up in an era where they're watching people that are playing video games on YouTube, and those kids are making a lot of money. So they say, I want to do that for a living. I want to be able to play video games, live stream my gameplay, and make money. I want to be able to travel around to trials and make YouTube content covering the trials. That's how I want to make my money. I want to make money trying out different brands of makeup and applying my makeup and people watching my channel and me making money with the whole influencer beauty world. This is a common theme, John. This isn't new. I'm a little worried that you got so excited about a stupid light. I'm a little concerned about that. So you got a mom who's got an active TikTok channel and has had for several years. You've got a teenage son. You don't think that teenage son understands that one day he could make money by just simply making videos? Look at Jody Hildebrandt and Ruby Frankie. Those kids learned, go online, have an opinion, people will pay you. So the fact that you've got a teenager, a mom, and there's a light in the room for when they go live, they're going live. They're staying live as an extra layer of protection. That if the cops do break in, they want it filmed. They want it out there on the internet as a matter of safety. Correct? So that having the light in the room, John? No. Your exact words. You see what you get when you have a forensic psychologist evaluating and not just some Joe Blow journalist? No, John, it doesn't take a forensic psychologist to say, oh, look, they know to light themselves when they're live streaming and doing commentary. The majority of 15-year-olds know in 2026, if you go live, you need a ring light or you need some kind of lighting. So I don't know, that was one of those moments that made me cringe.
So the barricade is symbolic of.
And you missed an opportunity, Wowin. That was the perfect moment for an ad for a ring light or for the diffuse light that John spotted in the barricade because he's a forensic psychologist. He's the only one that could see the light diffuser in the room because he's so damn special, you know. And you should have inserted an ad for that same exact light. Do you know how many people would want to buy it? It's a light that you guys use. It's a light that was in Nightmare Upstairs behind the barricade. Man, you missed your opportunity, buddy.
Trauma. It's symbolic of fight, flight, or freeze, right? It's an escape. What makes it unique is that he's live streaming it on social media.
Right. The kids live streamed their barricade on social media because they felt that would protect them too, though, I think.
Right.
Because the police came to try to take them away for reunification camp.
It did protect him.
It did. I don't think they knocked the door down because they were live streaming.
He's trying to enlist witnesses, right? There's a lot of things that live stream's accomplishing.
Yeah.
I mean, where it gets complicated, though.
Yeah. You are talking about he's live streaming and all of the good that is coming from the live stream. And yet you think that because you spotted a light, somehow that's part of your forensic criminal training? Or you just needed to find a moment where you could sort of push back against your wife because she does kind of belittle you, which is very odd to me because you're fueling her successful channel. So, Lauren, be nice to him. Treat him with respect. He has knowledge that.
Okay, so this is the part that just blew me away.
I don't know why we jumped up to 1.25, but let's get it back down where it's supposed to be. Come on.
There's a moment. So they're in the barricade for 54 days. There's a moment in the first week or two where the camera pans to an angle where you professional lighting. We have professional lighting here, okay? And the thing about he has exactly the same light we have.
Okay. But I mean, we're not professionals and we have them.
No.
Okay, Lauren, what the F are you talking about, sister? You brought in $3.1 million. I think people would say that definitely qualifies you guys as professional YouTubers. You yourself, Wowin, just shove it down people's throats that you are not a trial tourist like Christina Mac. No. You were on television. You were on real TV, not YouTube TV, but real TV. Now you're saying, but we're not professionals, John. Okay, well, your non-professional husband has
that's right,
and a license. I think that qualifies him as a professional. I'm not sure what you're talking about here. Let me tell you what I think is happening here, okay? My opinion. Everybody put it in chat. This is an opinion. All right. While you type in, this is an opinion, I'm going to take a drink of water because I'm parched, and then we'll continue. It helps me make money if you type in the chat. That's why I tell you, type in the chat. This is an opinion. Thank you, Scatty Nona. Nobody else hears me saying this is an opinion? Just write the word opinion or just put an O in the channel or put a smiley face. Hey, Bling, good to see you. I hope you're feeling okay. Oh, look at Lil Red go. Thank you, Lil Red. Lil Red's listening. She says this is an opinion. Exactly, Awakened Soul. These kids know everything about tech, streaming, influencers, making money online. They know. All right. Look at all this money I'm making. Money. Y'all didn't know that, did you? That when you write in the chat, we people that rely on AdSense, we make money. I don't tell you, oh, we got a super chat. We gotta have a donation train. I want 20 people to donate $5 each. We don't do that here. All we do is ask you to type something in the chat, and then I make some AdSense pennies, which is the way I like it. All right. I feel like my child could run my channel. Your child could run your channel better than me. All right. Oh, really? Yeah, Little Red. You get the more engagement you get in your live chat, you make more money on that stream. Okay. Thank y'all for those of you that typed in the chat. I am so appreciative. Thank you so much. I'm trying to save money to go to Barry Morphew's trial. So, okay. So here we go. The reason this was actually the point in this video that I decided, oh my God, this is my topic for my next YouTube video. It was this exchange right here. Okay. Lauren is you're about to watch now a segment there. This is going to be like a prolonged engagement where John is being authentic. He's being honest. And Lauren doesn't like that because it doesn't fit her model. It doesn't fit the messaging for how she presents her channel, how she presents her content. Now, it's my opinion that Lauren has picked up on the fact that people, a majority of the population, no longer trust mainstream media. We no longer watch television. We don't get our news from CNN and MSNBCs. We don't believe those professional newscasters anymore that's big business. That's all about money. And we get that now, that if you want the actual facts on the ground, you're going to do much better going to like something like Twitter or YouTube, maybe Kick or Instagram. You're better to go to a commentator's channel where all they're doing is just giving the facts. They're showing some video of what actually happened, and they don't really have any real political motivation, right? That the reason that YouTube grew so dramatically during COVID and whatnot, that people were tired of being manipulated, and they just wanted to listen to honesty. They didn't want an overproduced show like 60 Minutes. They want to just like just go to YouTube and go, oh, look, Jules is live. Let me go in there and see what she's talking about. Right? They just want to like listen to some engaging conversation. They don't want to be handled and told what to believe or how to believe. That they're tired of that. They're weary of that. Correct? All right. So I think that Lauren picked up on that. And now John is blowing them out of the water because he's being authentic and honest, Lauren. He's not a performer like you. He just speaks his mind. He just tells what he thinks. And truth be damned, he just is telling his honest experience. So right now, he has outed you in terms of professional. Here, let me do it this way so I can make my point without a whole lot of words. Here we go. We have professional lighting. Did y'all see that? We have professional lighting, and he looks up at the ceiling and he lines out all the lights that are above them. And they probably have lights beside them, and they have lights that are shining behind them because it is a professional production. She has the experience and the knowledge. She knows what a network studio requires, and she's recreated that in her home. John bragged about building a production studio in their home. $3.1 million made on the death of JJ and Tylee. And that $3.1 million built them an estate that included a professional recording studio in the house. Yeah? And we have professional lighting. Y'all notice that, right? The body language. We have professional lighting. And what does Lauren say? Oh, well, we have lighting, but we're not professionals, John. No, we're not professionals. No, we're people like all the gyms. We don't know anything, John. We just talk. We're just 330,000 cozy little friends, John. We are not professional. Did you pick up on that? Yeah. No, they had a professional studio built in their home. We have professional lighting. He's telling you exactly what that room looks like that they're sitting in. It's like a studio. You got the bar, you got the lighting across the top, you've got the diffuser lights, they've got lights behind them that are shining up for the green screen. Yeah, they've got professional audio. Of course they do. But Lauren is like, no, what? Professional? No, we're not. John, we're just people. Yeah, he's being authentic, Lauren. That's what you love about him, remember?
Lighting. We have professional lighting here, okay?
What?
And
What?
the thing about he has exactly the same light we have.
Okay.
Look at her face. Oh my God. Lauren, girlfriend, watch Lauren. Don't even look at John. He's gonna, we have professional lighting. Okay. We know what he did. Watch Lauren's face. Watch her reaction to him outing them that they are absolutely a produced show. 100%. I guarantee you that there is a sound engineer. I guarantee you. All right, listen. Keep an eye on Lauren. Watch her reaction when he begins to out them.
Right? There's a lot of things that live stream's accomplishing. I mean, where it gets complicated though, okay, so this is the part that just blew me away. There's a moment, so they're in the barricade for 54 days. There's a moment in the first week or two where the camera pans to an angle where you see professional lighting. We have professional lighting here, okay? And the thing about he has exactly the same light we have.
Okay. But I mean, we're not professionals and we have them.
No.
What? Huh? You made $3.1 million in 1 year with JJ and Tylee. What do you mean? What exactly do you mean you're not professional, Lauren? $3 million on a YouTube channel definitely puts you in the definition of professional YouTuber.
But okay,
No, that's true. But that's not what the
Keep
point.
going.
We didn't have these lights for years.
Yeah.
We've been doing this 6 years. We didn't have these lights for 4. We only got these lights after 4.5 years, right?
Now, you know what's going to happen? We, the people, we're all going to start going through their old videos to prove they've had the lights, because she was a journalist. She did the nightly news. She went out on location and talked about chocolate covered bacon at the county fair. She knew exactly what she needed to do. And she had enough to make a good production. Now they actually have a recording studio. And I guarantee you there's an audio engineer.
This is a 16-year-old who's going into a barricade. Think about this. This is a 16-year-old who's going into a barricade, supposedly not knowing if he is going to be in there a day or months, with professional lighting.
So John is saying, oh, if I was going to be barricading myself in, I wouldn't even know about needing light. Okay, let me bring you some actual information. Children between the ages of 8 and 15, 35% of those children responded to national polls. They want to be a YouTuber, a vlogger, or social media influencer, content creator when they grow up. And this was information taken from multiple surveys, from PhD students working on dissertations, from social psychologists. This phenomenon for how the internet and content creation is affecting our children and the choices that they're making for their careers. They're answering they're responding in ways that say, I want to be a content creator when I grow up. I want to sell things. I want to be an influencer, or even more horrible, fourth graders across the country saying, I want to be a Kardashian when I grow up. In 2019, there was a Harris poll, 3,000 children polled between the ages of 8 and 12. And these kids were gathered from the US, the UK, and China. Guess what? 29% of them wanted to be a YouTuber. That was 3 times more often answered than I want to be an astronaut. It was in the United States and the UK, it was the top answer for American kids and British kids. Their top answer, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a content creator. I want to be a vlogger. That's what I want my career to be. I want to be PewDiePie. China was a little bit lower. A lot of those kids say, I want to be a doctor. Not our American children, not our British kids. No. We want to be influencers. So is it so strange that in a house where mom has a TikTok channel and you've got a 16-year-old boy who says live streaming keeps us safe from the police? The more of the public that we have supporting us, the safer that we are. Is that really unusual that he would have a light? Is that weird? I have damn ring lights all over the house. I even have a little portable ring light that I put on the clip on the front of my YouTube, my laptop when I'm traveling. No, these lights they're cheap, they're inexpensive, and people use the internet for a lot of things. Maybe they're doing live streaming. Maybe they're an influence selling products like you, Lauren, and your vitamins. Maybe they're just kids that go on Kick and play games with other people across the world. Maybe they go and play video games and live stream their video game. This is 2026. The YouTube, lighting, audio, these kids know it better than we old fogies. So I don't know what you're so excited about, John. This doesn't make sense to me. Here is one of the most recent surveys, publications that I found. This one was published in 2024 by WAP. It was for U.S. There were 910 kids, U.S. kids in the sample. The kids were aged between 12 and 15. Remember, Ty is 15, 16 when this is happening, okay? So with the WAP survey, 900 kids between the ages of 12 and 15, 32% named as their top aspiration was to be a YouTuber. 21% said, oh, when I grow up, I want to make my money by being a TikTok creator. 15% said they wanted to stream their gameplay to make money. This was a multiple choice format. And so it's kind of like a forced choice answer, right? But still, YouTube, 32% say I want to be a YouTube creator when I grow up, or a streamer of some sort, either TikTok or Kick or whatever it is. Also, there's more polls. 1 in 3 preteens, kids before the age of 13, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1 in 3 preteens, like I said, they're saying, I want to be on the internet for my job. I want to be an influencer. I want to have followers. I want to give up and offer information. That's how I want to make money. These are kids that are not even 13 years old yet. YouGov.com, found for teenagers between the ages of 13 and 17, again, this is right in that age group of both Bryn and Ty, YouGov found professional streamers or influencer related jobs as the top dream jobs for kids today between the ages of 13 and 17. This is a government poll that was done. And why are you blown away, John? Why are you so excited that he had a light? His mother is on TikTok. TikTok. Sorry, I guess I should say TikTok-y. In a 2023 Morning Consult survey, a whopping 57% of teenagers said that they wanted to be influencers. It's everywhere. This is their world. These kids are heavily exposed to content everywhere they go. They're on their phones constantly. They watch YouTube. They watch TikTok. They're creating TikToks. It's so easy to do the little dances, and all that. They have grown up in a culture that celebrates extroverted people online. This is the name of the game in 2026. So the aspirations of I want to be a content creator, it matches what they know. It matches what they've grown up with. It matches their addiction. They're all addicted to their telephones, right? Okay. There you go. Emily D. Baker's oldest son. Hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? He said, I want to be Mr. Beast. There you go. The ultimate content creator in today's world, the ultimate influencer. Okay. So John, calm down. Okay. The light was a great find. You did good, but it's okay. It's okay. This was normal for this age group. All right. Okay. So I don't know why I'm so weirded out by it, but let's continue. Whoops. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Lauren's got stuff to say. Get ready for this merch conversation between the ever authentic non-performer Dr. Babe and Lauren, the non-professional $3.1 million YouTube babe. All right. So we got $3.1 million babe and Dr. Babe, the authentic. Get ready for this next little conversation. Yeah, facts, Lauren. They're in the beginning, they're offering facts. Now look at John. that intense glare into the camera. John, breathe, buddy. You're going to be all right. You're going to get through this okay. Has she offended you? Like Lori Hellis offended you? Somehow she's stepping on your brilliant idea? You're so excited about the light. And now Lauren is like blowing all that out of the water. And does he look happy? I thought this was a little unnerving. Okay, remember what happened with Lori. And I'm still mad about it. And he throws down his glasses. And Lori Hellis said she couldn't even remember what in the world he was even referring to. But he carried his anger for 4 years. It was the thing that caused them to basically kick Lori Hellis off of their channel. Is that what's happening right here? Look how Lauren is looking at him. Lauren is looking at him like, are you mad? What's happening here? Did I say something wrong? Because all I'm doing is just talking. That's what I do for a living. So there's something happening right here. But again, we got to get to the merch problem. Here we go. Now she's petting her husband. She's petting him as if to say, just relax and calm down. I'm not really like contradicting you, John. I'm just trying to find like an innocent explanation for why there is lighting for a teenager who probably wants to be an influencer anyway. And yeah, mom also has a TikTok channel. Does she know that he's irritated? Watch her pet him. She literally is like saying, she like taps him and it's like she's saying, that's all I'm saying. I'm not telling you that your idea is not a good one. It is a good idea. It's so great that you found the light, John. Don't go into the light, John. Watch. Go pet him. Pet him. But why are you surprised by it, John? This is 2026 when 30% of polled children across the world want to be influencers. And let's face it, the light and stuff, it's not expensive. It's not even a $20 bill to get some of these lights. Can we get back to Brad Pitt? Could we do that, please? Because that's simple, right? Brad Pitt is a hottie. He's always been a hottie. Since he came into the world, he was a cutie. And then he became a teenager hottie. And then he became a middle-aged man hottie, right? So can we just get back to wonder why you're not seeing the clips. You have no sound. Hold on. If you can hear me talking, put a 1. Let's see. We hear you. but not the clip. Okay, so that was at 6:52. So it's only been a few minutes. Why would you not be able to see it or hear it after we've been, let me reconnect this. Hold on just a minute. And you don't know, maybe I'm getting struck. Maybe a lot of people are striking me right now. Yeah. Hey, girl.
Hey,
You're
not your screen.
It is. I am showing it. I don't know why you guys aren't seeing it.
Yeah, all we see is the text. I just want to let you know.
Okay. What about now?
No, all I can see is the whatever you had up before. Throw my glasses on the page. No video.
Can we do that, please? Because that's simple, right? Brad Pitt is a hottie. He's always been a hottie since he came into the world. He was.
You should be able to see.
And then he came.
Okay, Little Red says now y'all can see. Okay, good deal.
Okay, I just
Thank-
want to let you know.
Thank you, my friend.
Uh-huh.
All right, bye. All right, so y'all have a mod who's looking out for y'all. She called me, got my attention. Okay, so you haven't missed. I mean, it's only been a few minutes of the clip. That's so weird that happened. Let's see. I was trying to see where I might have been a few minutes ago.
And I was like,
all right, if you can
what is
hear,
going on here?
If you
right?
can hear
But we'll
the
talk
video,
about that.
Sam, put a 1 in chat. Thank you, Blaine.
See what happens when a forensic psychologist watches a documentary as opposed to someone who's not looking for these things.
Good deal. Good.
So the barricade
thanks all for
is symbolic of trauma. It's symbolic of fight, flight, or freeze, right? It's an escape. It's what makes it unique is that he's live streaming it on social media.
Right. The kids live streamed their barricade on social media because they felt that would protect them too, though, I think.
Right.
Because the police came to try to take them away for reunification camp.
It did protect him.
It did. I don't think they knocked the door down because they were live streaming.
He's trying to enlist witnesses, right? There's a lot of things that live stream's accomplishing. I mean, where it gets complicated though, okay, so this is the part that just blew me away. There's a moment, so they're in the barricade for 54 days. There's a moment in the first week or two where the camera pans to an angle where you see professional lighting.
Okay, and then I provided the statistics on all these kids who want to be creators. And is it really unusual that a 15 or 16-year-old boy whose mom also happens to be on TikTok would have YouTube, or not YouTube, but video lighting in his room? Is that unusual that he would have lighting at his desk where his computer is? Is that unusual? If you think it's unusual, put a 1. If you think that it's perfectly understandable and normal in the year 2026, put a 2. You haven't seen her zone out, though. They're about to get into it. Yeah. Okay, so it's not really unusual, right? You consider the time in history that we're in. You consider how these kids spend their days, the things they're interested in. Many kids, 15, 16 years old, have already begun to dabble in making content, and that would include a microphone, rudimentary lighting. That makes sense, right? Makes sense. So John is very excited about being the forensic psychologist who has identified a light, a type of light that he obviously has two of in his room. It's probably diffuse lighting. And then they have this big discussion about lights, and he points to the overhead lights, and let's continue.
Okay.
Who's going into a barricade. Think about this. This is a 16-year-old who's going into a barricade, supposedly not knowing if he is going to be in there a day or months, with professional lighting.
Now, the light that is in the young man's room is not the same kind of light that you're referring to when you point overhead and say that y'all have professional lighting and you where you are, and Lauren has to hide it and say, but we're not professional, John. Don't admit to making money, even though you pocketed $3 million. No, we're not professional. We have lighting. The type of lighting that is seen in the clip in Nightmare Upstairs, the type of lighting, it's just a stand that has the diffuse umbrella back behind the light to offer soft light, right? But he motions above his head that they have like transom light, like studio. So John, chill out, man. That kid could have bought that light for $50 on Amazon. So it's not exactly your transom lights that would have been hundreds of dollars, right? No, you can buy one of the little stands with the little umbrella behind it for, $50, $60.
Think about the implications of that. This is someone who knows that he's going to be live streaming and he wants to have the best lighting he can have.
But question, guys, does this look like a 15, 16-year-old boy who would have interest in being an influencer? Look at the fashion, the style of his hair. What do they call it? Justin Bieber flow? Isn't that what it's called? Right? Look at him. Yeah, he does. He looks like a kid that would be thinking, hey, I'm a handsome, stylish guy. I can probably be a content creator. I could probably make some money online. He's aware of his appearance, right? He's got his hair fashionably dyed and got a real modern contemporary cut. He's ready for a camera. 100%, Sariana. Yeah, totally. Hell yes, this boy has got it going on. Can we get back to Brad Pitt? Brad Pitt's got it going on too. And Ty has it going on. And this kid is handsome enough that he can do a YouTube channel and make money on his YouTube channel, right? So, John, simmer down, buddy. Simmer down, simmer down.
I don't know. I'm asking,
John, remember yourself. You're a professional.
I couldn't believe, if I was a 16-year-old and I was going to barricade myself for a couple months, I wouldn't even know.
I don't know, because actually the one point in the entire documentary brought me to absolute tears was Ty as a little boy.
And now we're going to change the subject because Lauren is going, oh God, we can't talk about this because he's about to out our very professional operation. We have an audio engineer, we have professional lighting, we have editors. I can't let John tell the truth about how heavily controlled and heavily produced Hidden True Crime actually is, because the YouTube audience doesn't want overproduced shows. The YouTube audience wants to be a part of the conversation. They want real people giving real opinions and having real conversations, right? So she can't let this get out. So now she changes the story. I just cried so hard when Ty stood up to his dad. Wait a minute. We're talking about a 16-year-old boy who's got it going on, who says, I want to make content. And he's got lighting, which is perfectly normal. It's not expensive. It's not even close to prohibitively expensive. And we got a forensic psychologist here who believes that that is one of his special super duper psychology, super secret skills, that he can spot professional lighting.
And there was no professional lighting. It was his father filming him. And he was 9 years old. I think, was he 9,
No
10?
professional
And he
lighting.
was crying. And his dad was filming on the cell phone. He was saying, I don't want to go with him. I don't want to go with him. He abused me.
He was 11.
He was 11.
He was 11 when he disclosed.
That brought me to tears.
I'm not arguing that the abuse didn't happen. What I'm saying is that if you combine that, it is peculiar to have a 16-year-old bring professional lighting into a live stream barricade situation, and a mother simultaneously on a TikTok selling merch.
That was weird to me. Well, let me say this. I didn't know.
A mother. It was weird to me that there was a mother on TikTok selling merch. And Lauren goes, can we get back to Brad Pitt, please? She is trying so hard to steer him away from this, and she does ultimately lose the battle.
There's a difference between when the documentary began and when it ended. And I pointed this out actually to somebody else that.
Now, John starts sucking down that Diet Dr. Pepper like it's got some added caffeine in it, if you know what I mean. My great uncle, we used to go horseback riding together all the time, and he always had iced tea with him. And he used to joke around that he was putting a little bit of caffeine in his iced tea while we were on trail rides. Really, he was adding a little bit of some kind of like bourbon or something to his tea. Because I had a little bit of caffeine to my tea, and then everybody would laugh, right? John is sucking down that Diet Dr. Pepper. Look how much is in that bottle. Like when he starts this, it's almost full to the top. Okay. So as she's talking, he's becoming more and more agitated. He's so excited that he found that light. He thinks that is the indication that the accusations of abuse was all BS, that this poor dad is being mistreated, that is parental alienation, that all that this kid, this 16-year-old and his mom want is to make money online as influencers, that this is all a big ruse to make them some money. John, do you remember the beginning of this video, sir? Do you remember that you said, why wasn't the 7-year-old little girl's outcry of SA, why wasn't it prosecuted? You said it. You've totally lost the narrative. You have completely forgotten your outline. You have no idea what you're responding to other than to argue with Lauren. Why? Remember, this story of Nightmare Upstairs is not a story of accusations of abuse versus accusations of parental alienation. That is not the story. The story is CPS says chronic and severe abuse. Apply for restraining orders immediately. Protect these children from their abuser, their father, and the prosecutor and the judge ignore CPS. They ignore a 7-year-old little girl. They ignore a mother in favor of forcing children to go to the home of their abuser. And that is not the only one of these situations coming out of Utah County. The story is the district attorney's office, the prosecutor's office, the judge. That's the story. Why is John screaming about lighting? Why is John excited about mom on TikTok selling merch? You buried the lead. It's not about parental alienation or TikToks or any of that. It's not what this is about. This is about Utah County not protecting their citizens' children.
I mean, as someone that has told stories for my entire career, I recognize when they started having a crew with them. And so I wonder if somebody, and it sounds like the crew found them live streaming on TikTok.
Okay.
So to give them the benefit of the doubt, because I actually did notice this as a storyteller and someone that, tells stories and wants to tell it well, I noticed that in the beginning.
She does not want the gems to think of her as a professional broadcaster. But she runs around and tells police officers, I used to be on real TV. I was on Channel 6. I was on real TV. I'm not a trial tourist because I was on real TV eating chocolate-covered bacon. And when you came to YouTube and you stole JJ and Tylee's story, you stole Colby Ryan's story, you made $3.1 million. And now you want to sit there and lie to people and say, oh, but we're not professionals, John.
The first episode before the barricade, it was just retelling. Nobody was around for that. They had court docs, they had cell phone footage, they had history. He said, she said they had DCFS records. In the second episode, when the barricade begins, things start becoming more professional very quickly. So I think that the whatever crew, the production crew, discovered them during the barricade. And that's when I noticed a shift. So it could be that somebody said, hey, throw this up there, give them this light. Who knows?
Yeah, they could have.
Who knows?
Right,
I'm just saying, because it was during that where they discovered these kids. And that's after is when things
that's where it's
Did you see her pet him as she tried to calm him down and tell him, this is what I'm talking about. Your idea is a good one. Don't get upset about what I'm saying. Watch her pet him. Like she literally reaches over and
very quickly.
So
I think that the whatever crew, the production crew, discovered them during the barricade. And that's when I noticed the shift. So it could be that somebody said, hey, throw this up there, give him this light. Who knows?
Yeah, they could have.
Who knows?
Right,
I'm just saying, because it was during that where they discovered these kids, and that's after is when things.
But
that's where it's confusing.
Light.
Again, getting back to this idea of imperfect information, was the lighting there from the start, or was it added later? It seemed like the professional lighting came in pretty quickly, which would suggest it was there.
Okay, now I'm gonna move forward.
Now I could be wrong. You're right. You're right. It could have been. There were times when presumably.
Give them this. Break this light down.
But you see the point.
I see your point.
The point is there's.
Well, I think that's the mystery behind it too.
There's ambiguity here.
There is.
The other thing. Okay, let's also look at Ty's statement or Ty's allegations of sexual abuse. It's not clear. Again, it's clear what he says happened, but it's not clear how that arose. It appears that some of that arose. Okay, it appears that it was repressed memory.
Yeah, it was confusing.
It appeared again.
We don't know.
What are you talking about, John? Why introduce something that has nothing to do with the price of eggs in China? The story is about a 7-year-old little girl who makes an outcry, CPS that validates the abuse as chronic and severe, and a prosecutor in Utah County who laughs in the face of this victim. That's the story. What in the hell are you talking about now? About repressed memory? You want to further discredit this young man and this young lady by bringing up repressed memory syndrome? Oh my God. Stop. This is what is happening, John. Where's your outline? Where are your notes? You are so far in the dirt. You have no idea what you're talking about at this point. repressed memory syndrome. The only reason you would bring that up would be to discredit what this young man and young lady are talking about. How dare you?
I don't have that. So this is speculation, but it appears based on the documentary, and the documentary wasn't clear about this, but it appears that it was repressed memory that came up during therapy with this therapist, JP Lilly, who's a BACA guy, started BACA.
Bikers against child abuse.
It appears that
A
these
very
were repressed
reputable
memories,
man.
and it started, this is what's really interesting. It started or may have originated from nightmares that Ty was having. And so this is where it really.
I'm sorry, John. Are you a psychologist? I'm just curious. Are nightmares, are those part of your diagnostic criteria for trauma? Just curious. Just wanting to know how much you know about diagnosing PTSD and other forms of trauma. I don't know. What is wrong? Why are you now discrediting nightmares as an information source? Recurrent dreams is actually in your DSM. Check it. I promise it's there. This went off the rails so quickly. I was actually appalled. And I can't figure out what it is he's so excited about. Is he just so intense, like that the light is so important? Like what's he doing? I don't know what he's doing. I don't know. There's no reason to question recurrent memories, nightmares, intrusive thoughts, re-experiencing the trauma. Why are you questioning it? It's part of your DSM, John.
Difference here between the allegations that Ty is making later and the allegations that Bryn makes initially. Brinley, well, they call her Bryn too, but so Brinley's allegations seem pretty compelling and straightforward. But then you have the situation where these allegations are out there, and now all of a sudden Ty goes into therapy. He starts remembering stuff. Mm-hmm. He says that some of this could be related to some nightmares.
There's ambiguity. Yeah.
There's ambiguity.
Oh my
That's
God.
not to say. He also says later, by the way, he says, the trauma I can recall 2 events, and that's it. He says this near the end. Quote.
Does that sound ambiguous to anyone? That a 16-year-old boy says, I can recall 2 events, and he's having recurrent nightmares. He's having symptoms of anxiety. He's almost just the little bit that we learn about in the documentary. You're only lacking 1 point for a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress syndrome or disorder. What is he talking about? Why is he trying to discredit this 15, 16-year-old guy? Why is he doing this? I don't know. And I really, let's move forward a little bit here. Makes me so mad to listen to this.
What he says happened, by the way, I'm not going to repeat it here.
Yeah, don't.
What he says happened is
very specific.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty sadistic.
Yeah.
But again, is this a repressed memory? Because there's questions about that. Forensic psychologists will tell you that repressed memories are controversial.
They are controversial.
You introduced it in this conversation. You haven't read a single evaluation. You don't have documents. You have no normed instruments regarding like symptomology. You don't know anything other than what we all know from the Hulu documentary. You don't. So what I find incredibly interesting, John, is that you have a very clear-cut case of a 7-year-old little girl describing details in addition to behavior that she acts out. And there is no question with DCFS that there is chronic and severe abuse, and that their recommendation was restraining orders. Utah County prosecutor refused criminal charges, John. How many cases have you been involved in where there is SA against a small child, but all the other children get away with it scot-free and they don't become targeted? That's not the way it works, is it? Normally, there's a kid who outgrows the abuse, and the pedophile then focuses on a younger sibling. That's it, isn't it, John? Have you forgotten all of that? What are you talking about? Why are you now so vehemently, so passionately trying to discredit this 16-year-old kid who went to heroic efforts to protect not only himself, but his sister? We even see bonding between these two kids that is very reminiscent of POWs. That they share a bond that is different than with anybody else, and they provide comfort, and there's an attachment that grows that is quite different than the normal type of attachment. What's he talking about? Why would he want to discredit this 16-year-old kid? I don't know what he's doing, and I don't know if he owns a DSM.
But your point is, even with the ambiguity, that's not what matters here. Ultimately, it's this first accusation. It's Brinley's accusation.
And now Lauren is saving him. Lauren can hear, he's all over the place now. All over the place. Speculation, what ifs, maybe, maybe not. He's just all over the place. And she's like, oh shit, this is going off the rails. And so now she's going to bring him back on track. Say, but wait a minute. We need to remember the facts, and that is CPS said there was chronic and severe abuse. We need to get back to that, because you are discrediting a 16-year-old boy that went to heroic efforts to protect his sister and himself. Lauren's jumping in to save the day here.
Brinley's accusation is compelling. If that's true, if she's telling the truth, and I would have no reason to believe she's not, then everything else follows from that.
It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter.
Nothing else matters.
Even if Ty's memories are not accurate, and even if these are false beliefs, you still have.
Okay. I'm just going to let it go. You guys get my point. If you get my point about discrediting the 16-year-old kid, put a 1. Yeah, to me, he doesn't like the cool kids. Ty reminds him of the guys that may have bullied him. What do you think? You get my point that this, by bringing up repressed memories, the lighting, the mom being on TikTok selling merch, you get my point that it sounds like he's discrediting the boy's stories of physical assault and as well as SA and other things. Why are you discrediting this young teenager? What do you get out of it? It makes you look cool because you found a light in an accidental video shot. No, it doesn't make you look cool. You've completely lost the storyline, John. I don't even know what you're arguing for, other than you want people to be impressed with the fact that you spotted what you're calling professional lighting, what I call a $50 purchase on Amazon. Okay. You're saying it's professional lighting, which then suggests that it's all a ruse to become an influencer. But what about Brinley? So he's fallen into his own rabbit hole. And even though you have Lauren, she's recognizing that he's floundering, right? And she's like, okay, John, breathe. Let's go back to the main point. and he's still, you know, he wants to be heard, in my opinion. I think, but this is not the story, John, to be heard. When you've got a 16-year-old kid and then like an 11, 12-year-old little girl who have been terrorized and brutalized, not only by the perpetrator, but they have been terrorized and brutalized by the police, by the prosecutors in Utah County, by the judge in Utah County. They have been terrorized, John. Do you think you're helping? Stop. The kids have a win here. Okay? The documentary on Hulu is a win for a 16-year-old boy and an 11, 12-year-old girl who are entitled to a win. They deserve a win. Just stop with the repressed memory. Listen, guys, the issue is not repressed memory syndrome. He should not even be talking about repressed memory syndrome. He's pulling this out of his own hat. The nightmare issue, what we're talking about is recurrent dreams, recurrent nightmare, that the day's experiences get encoded into long-term memory. And when you are overwhelmed by trauma and emotion, it's too painful to actively think about it in your working memory, if you will, your RAM. It's too painful to think about it. So you push it back. You kind of push the trauma into the background, focus on other things. And then because it is so active and you have not yet dealt with it, it finds expression in your dreams. It keeps that area where you're storing that memory is getting reactivated at night in your dream. And that's why when you have trauma, you get recurrent dreams. They go together. There's no controversy about recurrent dreams being a diagnostic factor related to PTSD or trauma. It's a real thing. It's not in question. It's not controversial. It is part of the DSM-5 diagnostics. So why is he talking about repressed memory? Let me tell you why. Because the guy that was Ty's therapist, he's an expert in trauma. The man is an expert in, or was, he's died now, but he was an expert in trauma. He started a nonprofit, Bikers Against Child Abuse. These are the finest people on the planet, in my opinion. The things that they do for kids across the United States, even over in Great Britain, amazing. This organization is amazing. But he is a trauma expert, or was a trauma expert. And yes, he did make statements on repressed memory syndrome. And the researchers who worked in repressed memory, the pros and cons, the realities and the fallacies, he did all that, but he was so much more than repressed memory. He's a trauma expert. He worked with kids who had complex trauma, long-ranging trauma, initial trauma in childhood that keeps getting reactivated across the lifespan. This was his expertise. John is choosing repressed memory, repressed memory, repressed memory, like that's the only thing that this professional therapist ever did. No, it's not. You talking about repressed memory in this case, you are discrediting a young man who's been through so much that we see him in this documentary sobbing multiple times, sobbing. Why do we want to hurt him anymore, John?
Abuse.
And what about going back to that one scene that just made me, it actually just made me sob, like probably crying. You know, his dad recording him. It's just, I think the reason that made me cry is you see an 11-year-old boy asserting himself, and God bless, you know, JP Lilly, his therapist, who gave him the courage to do that.
Yeah.
He said, you know, I don't want to go with you. So like, at what point, here's a question too. I mean, I get the parental alienation concern, but like, at what point do you say, you know what, this child just doesn't want to go with this father? At what point, like, can a 16-year-old then? I mean, I understand.
I'll tell you the point. I'll tell you the exact moment when you don't have the police come to the house and say, we're going to kick in your door. When children, and I don't care if they're teenagers, when kids, minors, when they are so afraid that they are hysterical, that's the moment you don't force them toward someone that is making them hysterical. That's the point. When you look at a child and a child's amygdala is firing so wildly that this kid is hyperventilating, sweating, sobbing, crying, hands are shaking, turning their back on the person that they fear. At that moment, when you see panic, that is when you back the hell off and leave that kid alone, because something is wrong. Children don't demand to stay away from a person unless they're scared. This isn't like a big secret. Kids can't feign panic like that.
11-year-old is different than a 16-year-old.
Yeah, 16-year-old
is a lot different than an 11-year-old. So here he is, 16, saying, I don't want to go to reunification camp. And they're going to have police come and remove him from the house to make him go.
It's a little extreme. And then you have this social worker who who's clearly siding with.
Let's talk about her, the parental alienation social worker.
Let's not talk about the nut. And we got us an ad break. That's super, Lauren. That's so. It's hard to take, isn't it? There we go. Well, we're talking about child abuse, but we don't abuse our child. This is their ad break, y'all. Somebody want to explain this to me? Help me understand this. Why do we cover this child abuse story, but this is the first time we've ever inserted Supermom, the photos of her child? Lauren, we're talking about two little kids that were not protected. We're talking about two little kids who were not treated well by at least their father, maybe their mom, I don't know. Why would you insert photos of your family? Anybody have a guess? Because I'm mystified. Is it narcissism, Rebecca? Or is it having an argument for something that nobody said? There you go, boss lady. There you go. That's it. Oh, Snickers. Oh my gosh. It's so odd. It's so odd. This case is so heartbreaking, what Ty and Brindley went through. Why are you doing this with the pictures of your son? It is mystifying. I don't know. And this one's got John in it. So I don't know. I guess it's none of my business. Are we going to sell something now that we've said, well, we're talking about child abuse, but we don't abuse our children? Here's proof. And now, we're selling life insurance? You're selling life insurance after you show pictures of your small child and talk about child abuse and SA. I got to say this. I think I preferred the children's vitamin ad.
Fast and easy, completely online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in
Ugh.
minutes, and in many cases get same-day coverage. And there is no medical exam.
But you're not a professional, are you, Lauren? You guys are not professionals, are you?
You just answer a few simple health questions online. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. And
Holy shit. You guys, we can get up to $3 million in coverage. What are we going to insure our children's lives for $3 million, Lauren? Or are we going to insure our husbands for $3 million? Like, what is it you want us to insure for up to $3 million in as little as 10 minutes? This is so weird, you guys.
There's a quote in here that I thought was from her, which is really good. And she says, when a child says they're abused, you can, one, believe they are telling the truth, or two, you can believe there's someone convincing them to not tell the truth.
Right.
Those are the two options.
Right. I liked it when she said that. I remember when she said that. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But I think if you step back from all of that, there's still larger issues about what, as a society, what do we do when a child says they're not safe? What do we do when a child says they're not safe, and the evidence seems reasonable,
Mhm.
right? What do we ignore that child?
Yeah. I don't know.
You don't know? You have evidence that seems reasonable. You have a CPS report that states very clearly chronic abuse. That means there were scars, Lauren. That means there was physical evidence left on the body of that little girl. That's what that means. So you don't know what to do in that case. I tell you what you do. You leave that child in peace. You protect them from the perpetrator. Even if old daddy or uncle or brother never gets to see that kid again, you don't send that child back to that house. And the prosecutor is the one who was supposed to protect those kids. The prosecutor that denied criminal charges and instead sent the cops over to the house to break in the door and drag those kids kicking and screaming to the perpetrator's house, allegedly. Yeah, I know what to do when a kid is hysterical and says, I'm afraid because he hurts me. I know exactly what to do.
Do we listen to them? Right? I mean, that's part of the issue here too. Is it in our society? We obviously, the moral authority here goes to the adults.
Yeah.
Right. That was another point they made in this documentary. You know, both parents, everybody's saying this is about the children. And ultimately the thing people are, you know, caring about the most. What is the exact quote from it? You know, are the children. Like,
why doesn't anyone believe the children?
If this is all about the children, why doesn't anyone believe the children?
I think that's where you get potential political motives here in terms of, I mean, I'm just going to throw this out. I don't have an opinion on this, but early on they say that Brent's family, and we hear from Brent's mother, Jolene, quite a bit in here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, she does.
That supposedly this is a family that is connected, that has money, that's right. So what does that mean?
Affluent. Yeah.
What does that mean? Are they able?
It means Alec Murdoch, doesn't it? It means Barry Morphew. It means if you have money, you'll be fine. Don't worry about being held responsible for your behavior. And if you don't have money, they would have thrown you under the jailhouse.
You don't believe Brinley for the very beginning.
Are they also, by the way, it's worth pointing out, notice this, the parental alienation doesn't come into play until, guess what? They get a lawyer.
Well, also, can we point out too what parental alienation is? It's turning the kids against the parent. And I realized that while we didn't see that, as you point out, the moment that they tell BJ that his daughter has made an allegation against him, Brinley has made an allegation, what does he do? Blame his wife, his ex-wife, Jessica. So I know that parental alienation are the parents turning the kids against one another, but who's more likely to do parental alienation there at that point? You're just watching how quickly he has to say, no, she did it. No, she did it. Like, or it's her fault. I mean, talk about parental alienation.
Well, it's not, and it's not only him. Keep in mind, it's not just Jessica. So, right, exactly. If you're looking at allegations of abuse, you're going to look at this person more broadly, right? And what you're going to find with Brent, and again, I don't know what's true, and I'm just repeating what people say in this documentary. So Jessica was quite clear that Brent was very controlling and angry.
Controlling, yes. What she wore.
He was overly concerned about how she wore her hair,
And
how she did her makeup. He was concerned about.
remember, there's another wife, right? He's been married twice. And interestingly enough, the second wife came back with the same accusations that were made privately by the kid's mother. And she revealed to law enforcement and to the documentary makers, she revealed that he told her what to say. He coached her, and it was a lie. He made his second wife be his alibi, that to say she was there when the cream situation happened, and that what Brinley is saying is not true. The second wife goes into the interview and says, he told me to lie. Here's the story he wanted me to say. Here's the reality of what I lived. So she refused. The second wife refused to go along with the coaching by BJ. There's no controversy here, y'all. BJ lied his ass off. Period. You have multiple people that didn't know each other's story, but they all said the same thing about the dude. Okay. Why are these two acting like it's controversial? It's not real. He is a liar.
Really possible. Again, you want to look at his character. You want to look at the specific allegations that Brinley's making when she's 7. You want to look at his responses during his interview. This is someone who, from my experience, and someone who I've worked with a lot of sex offenders, hundreds.
So why are you discrediting 16-year-old Ty? Oh, because you didn't like the therapist that he got. That really makes you a really, really shallow person, in my opinion.
Okay, I want to go back to Ty in that moment that affected me when he's 11 years old. And
you're talking about the moment when he confronts his father directly.
Yeah, it was during a supervised visit.
Okay.
And his dad recorded everything. His mother explained that he was worried about everything, so he recorded everything. And he recorded, interestingly, it came from his dad's cell phone.
Right. I know. I was wondering how they got that.
Well, he probably used it for something, and then they just had it. He probably submitted it for court thinking it would help his case. And
true.
He had tears. Ty had tears streaming down his face. He refers to it as a moment. I think the part that affected me again was like, he says it was the moment he found his voice, you know? And so there's this boy standing up to his dad, which we also later learned from the other second wife, his stepmother, that he was so hard on Ty. And he, you know, and he's finding his voice. He's saying, I don't want to go with you. And he's also saying, you hurt me, you know, you abused me. And I see
this conversation that the little boy is having against the dad. I don't want to go with you. He's crying. You hurt me. He was 11. These kids had 5 years of threats and intimidation by the police.
Him as maybe even standing up for his sister. And
exactly. If there is an argument.
Oops, sorry about that.
If you put aside, and again, I don't know, I'd have to see the exact allegations that Ty made initially. That would be the most interesting part to me. But if you base this assessment on his emotions and kind of fight or flight, right? And the way he acts during the barricade and his fear of being with his father over and over again, you'd certainly have to say that he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
Right. If you look at all of that, and again, I don't know.
And his story remains the same at 16 on the stand, you know, saying, I don't want to do this, you know?
This is a kid who definitely appears traumatized, who clearly he's willing to go to extreme lengths not to be around.
I'm sorry. Weren't you the one saying that his nightmare was bullshit, that it was repressed memory? So frustrated. I'm over this. I'm really weary of these two.
Parental alienation is a thing.
Yes.
And people are probably seeing this through what they've experienced. Parental alienation is coercive control. It's serious. It's heartbreaking. Admitting that it happens, I think, is a step. So how do you, it's interesting because you have the victims and that matters. And this is clearly, an issue of abuse and of believing the victims. So how do people balance this idea of parental alienation? I mean, for me, it's
Look at
obvious.
the evidence.
Thank you. Okay. Like for me, looking at the evidence, it's obvious. Like I said, the moment BJ's accused, he blames his wife, well, she doesn't bathe him. Like to me, the evidence is clear where
very minute things, but her argument is that parents that engage in parental alienation divide the world up into bad guys and good guys. This is her language.
Okay.
They engage in black and white thinking. It's often intergenerational, and quote, the protective parent was abused and nobody helped them. And that seems to apply to Jessica.
Why are they talking about this? This isn't the issue. The issue is a 7-year-old little girl. Why are you even bringing this up? It doesn't apply. Oh, look at that. Stop. Eeks. That was not good.
find the link in the description.
We don't sell a lot of merch. We don't
We're
promote
putting
our
the
merch.
merch.
Oh, okay.
It's being promoted now.
I
Nothing wrong with
missed this. Ooh. Here we go. This is a fun part. Man, I got over eager. I was like, let's end this. I'm tired of this. All right, here we go. Y'all ready?
That if you want to show that you're not engaging in parental alienation, then
Don't TikTok.
be a parent who's focused primarily on your relationship with your children. In other words, be a parent primarily in relationship,
Well, I think, to be fair,
not in a relationship with social media people.
I think that's what she was trying to show.
What's
Was her
wrong with
support that she was there
social
feeding
media
them,
people?
that she was downstairs supporting.
John,
Selling merch.
You said don't be in a relationship. Be in a relationship but no social media people. What's wrong with social media people? You're sitting next to her. Now, this is about to get fun.
I know, but I think there were a lot of TikToks, and I think
Even we don't sell merch.
Yeah, we do.
Well,
John's like, oh yeah, but she's so lowly. She's selling merch. And Lauren's like, oh, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? We sell merch. He's like, no, we don't. Look at her face. This is going to make internet history, in my opinion.
we don't promote it. We don't.
You don't promote merch, John? There were people at CrimeCon walking around with Hidden True Crime t-shirts on, John. Yes, you do promote it. You have merch. It gets promoted. Your wife actually has a TikTok-y. Your wife zoomed in trying to see the dead bodies at the church shooting, mass shooting. What are you talking about, John? Do you have no idea what you're actually doing to make your living? Or are you just so excited to be a millionaire that you just don't care where the money came from? Is that right?
We sell merch.
We sell merch.
And
We just
there is
don't-
more coming.
We don't sell a lot.
And find the link in the description.
We don't.
They don't sell a lot. But there were people at CrimeCon wearing Hidden True Crime. John, I'm feeling a little worried about you. Are you okay? Do you know what you're doing there? Do you know what your profession is?
We don't sell a lot of merch. We don't
We're
promote
putting
our
the merch.
Oh, okay.
It's being promoted now. Nothing wrong with promoting merch. If it's to help the kids, I think there's less we know about the TikToks than anything, because they showed a bunch of B-roll and they showed a highlight reel.
TikTok is great. I'm Lauren Matthias, and there's nothing wrong with TikTok. I don't know what you're talking about. We have to make TikTok. We have to make merch. We have to make content to save the children. We have to save the children of the world, John. We save them with merch. Every time somebody buys a t-shirt, John, there's a child somewhere not being abused. Okay? And I have a TikTok, John, and I make money on my TikTok, and you should be thanking me. You should not be talking bad about me and making fun of me and saying, don't have social media friends, because you married a social media friend. It's to save the children, John.
Don't know what she was doing on the TikToks, but I don't think it was a great look for her to do a TikTok, but we don't know if she wasn't trying to connect to her kids and talk to them. You're not on TikTok. So let me just say this. There's a lot of relationships.
John, look at John's face. He ain't playing. He's not having fun. And he doesn't pick up on Lauren is trying to smooth things over and save her income. Look at John's face. Watch his face. Can we get back to Brad Pitt, please?
Showed a bunch of B-roll and they showed a highlight reel. We don't know what she was doing on the TikToks, but I don't think it was a great look for her to do a TikTok, but we don't know if she wasn't trying to connect to her kids and talk to them. You're not on TikTok. So let me just say this. There's a lot of relationships.
All right, friends and neighbor, my social media friends. Is John happy? Is John pissed off? Is John thinking in 3 years, I'm going to throw my glasses and I'm still going to be ticked off? Oh, boss lady, he's furious. He's furious. And he even looks at Grayson like, okay, John, I'm just going to be authentic here. I'm feeling a little curious about the relationship between you and Grayson because you seem to connect with Grayson in a way that I connect with my husband. Like if we're somewhere in a group and somebody says or does something that is a little uncomfortable, he and I will look at each other like, did you see that? Yeah, I saw that. Are you going to say anything? Nope, neither am I. It's communication without a word, right? It's looking at each other and there's information that passes. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you know what I'm talking about, put a 1 in the chat. Look at eyes looking at Grayson. He's communicating with her, guys. He's communicating with her. And Lauren is on the outside. Weird moment in internet history, YouTubia history. Very strange moment. And he's not playing. She is trying to smooth things over. This is her empire. This is her career. She's finally making big dollars. And he's messing it all up. He hates it. He hates being on YouTube. He hates being a content creator. He believes himself to be much more accomplished than a lowly YouTube creator. And Lauren is going, I'll do anything for $3 million. Nothing is too good for me to make my $3 million, which is exactly the philosophy of business that her father had, isn't it? Judging by his court history and court record. But John, he didn't like this. This is beneath him. He doesn't want any part of it. He's not Scott Reich. No. Scott Reich is having fun. Scott Reich enjoys his channel. He likes being a YouTube creator. He's enjoying himself. This one right here? No. Don't you know that he is a psychologist? He would never stoop down to being a content creator. He would never stoop down to selling merch. Oh, but you have, and you did.
Showed a bunch of B-roll and they showed a highlight reel. We don't know what she was doing on the TikToks, but I don't think it was a great look for her to do a TikTok, but we don't know if she wasn't trying to connect to her kids and talk to them. You're not on.
Now watch this. Hold on. You know how much I love micro expressions. Yeah. This isn't even a micro expression. This is a macro expression. Watch his face slowed down. She's saying, you're not on YouTube. He says, thank God. Thank God. Look at the anger, the fury. Wow. Look at how frustrated he is. $3 million, people, you authentic gems out there. $3 million on the YouTube channel. And he's furious. How dare you say we sell merch? How dare you say that I'm a content creator? How dare you? I am Dr. Matthias, a forensic psychologist. I find lights in settings that no one else can find lights. I am not a content creator. Man, Lauren.
To look like you're objectifying your kids.
You don't want to look like you are. Right.
Whether she is or not, I don't care. It's the appearance of objectification.
The appearance of objectification, my friends. John is all been out of shape over the appearance of objectification. Whoops. The appearance of objectification. Can we get back to Brad Pitt? He is tore up about the mother making TikToks because it's the appearance of objectifying her kids. John, have you watched this video? You're going to want to do that because it definitely carries in 3 specific situations. You definitely objectified your own child to sell children's vitamins and to sell life insurance. So what are you so mad at Jessica about? Because she was the only one fighting to protect her kids when she was abandoned by the district attorney and the judge and the police, for that matter. I don't know, Rebecca. Isn't it odd? I don't understand it. I don't know. Unless he just shows up, reads his part, and goes away, and he has no idea what Grayson and Lauren are doing, what they're up to. I don't know. But there it is. Am I wrong in my assessment? This picture and 3 other photographs were put in the ad slots right before Lauren put her ad for the vitamins and life insurance and such. Isn't this objectification? Aren't you using emotional stimulus to try to get people to buy the vitamins, trying to get people to buy the life insurance? You show videos about this horrific abuse of 2 little kids, the cops trying to rip them out of their house, and you put photos of your beautiful little family and then say, buy these vitamins. You'll be a good mommy too. Looks like to me, I don't know what to say. I mean, if I'm wrong, you guys tell me I'm wrong. I can take it. Tell me how I'm seeing this inaccurately. If you think I'm right, put a 1 in the chat. Let's do that. My son, the tool for exposure. Yeah, they're selling vitamins with their kid. Yeah. That's what it looks like to me. Hey, Kiwi. Ugh, it's just exhausting, isn't it? It's exhausting. Donna Burns. Thank you, Sariana. Hey, Skitty Nona. Yeah, absolutely, Snickers. This is absurd. This is so absurd. Hey, Bling, apparently he's unemployed or disabled or something. Something. No, you're exact. Something. He's got enough time that he could get curious. What is my wife and Grayson putting out there on the internet that I'm in? John, do you know what it is that you're a part of? I'm curious, just, it's none of my business, but you might want to look just for your own peace of mind, because you are pretty freaked out about Jessica's objecting her children. No, Jessica is trying to get attention for her children to try to save them from the local police, a prosecutor with a dead head, and a judge that, I don't know, maybe screwing the district attorney. I don't know how she makes her decision she makes. But something went terribly wrong in this story, that these kids were not protected. And it didn't have, that thing that went wrong didn't have anything to do with a therapist, a well-known trauma therapist, and repressed memory syndrome. Had nothing to do with that. And yet you spent 2 hours talking about that bullshit, trying to discredit this 16-year-old boy. It's unforgivable, in my opinion. All right. Okay. You know what? Look at where we are on this. We're like just a few minutes over halfway. Can you believe that? And for me personally, man, I am exhausted with these two. I don't want to talk about them anymore. What about you guys? We are in this 3 hours and we're not even all the way finished. And I felt like everything I stopped and addressed in the video was relevant. And we're only halfway finished. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to beg you for forgiveness that I gotta quit looking at their stuff. I gotta quit looking at this video. I gotta quit watching this because I got so triggered with their nonsense. Here is the link to this video if you would like to go and finish it on your own. You could put it on double time and probably finish the rest of it. There is the link if you would like to do that. For me, I think I'm going to turn all of this off and watch Mary Poppins. How does that sound? Should I watch Mary Poppins or should I watch The Sound of Music to cleanse my palate after this really, this just terrible story, right? Am I right? Was this a wild video to have to do as a reaction video? It really wasn't just the terrible story related to Nightmare Upstairs. That was terrible, but the handling of the discussion in this one it really went off the rails in my opinion. And there was more for us to talk about even after this, but I'm weary. I'm weary. Okay, so Sketty Nona says the first half of Sound of Music. You are my kind of movie watcher, Sketty Nona. Absolutely. How do you solve a problem like Maria? Okay. Oh, you chitty chitty bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang. We love you. I love chitty chitty bang bang. I also really liked the gnomes. We're riding around in the gnome mobile, the gnome mobile, the gnome mobile. Yeah, I loved all those movies. Thank you for that great little memory, Sariana. Thank you. Okay, everybody, please, please, please hit the thumbs up if you were incensed and furious about this whole video. I'll take it. Give me those thumbs ups. If you are here and you have not subscribed, I hope you will. I don't have a regular live schedule or upload schedule. And so if you subscribe, then at least you'll know when I have another, piece of content that's being put out. So even if you hate me, it still does you good to subscribe because you'll know when to come back and hate watch. So it's a win-win for you. All right. Okay. So subscribe, hit the thumbs up, go finish the video if you're interested to see the rest of their argument and how ultimately it all ends. And I am going to turn on Sound of Music. All right. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. And let's go out on just a lighthearted, happy tune because, gosh, this was long. and unpleasant. There we go.
Woke up at dawn with the pelicans in flight. Coffee brewing strong by dawn's early light. Waves whisper secrets to my open heart. The life around this water gets me off to a great start. Parrots wild, squawking loud in the old palm tree. Dolphin smiles, brighter than the Texas sun on me. We chase simple dreams, nothing fancy or grand, just honest days in this promised land. God gives rainbow horizons to those in this happy lane. Diamonds dancing on the waves, back sparkling again. Honest living, a pursuit of peace, family ties and the happiness we seek. Love, forgotten country running deep in our veins. Through the storms and the trials we break those chains. Good living brings the blessings we see. Rainbow horizons calling to me. Living each moment, giving truth from the heart. No deceptions woven, no false starts. It goes like a front porch swaying in the ocean breeze. Watching the sunset fade away with pink and blue ease. Teach the young ones right from wrong with care. Hold them close when the world's unfair. In this Gulf Coast life we find our way, building memories that never stray. Oh, rainbow horizons after the rain. Diamonds dancing on the waves back again. Honest living in pursuit of peace. Family ties and the happiness we see. Love, forgotten country running deep in our veins. Through the storms and the trials we break those chains. Good living brings the blessings we see. Rainbow horizons calling to me. When the night falls quiet and stars shine bright, I thank the Lord for this humble light, for the flag that waves and the grace from above, filling our hearts with endless love. No riches compared to the peace we found in the ties we